The opinions expressed by the members of our panel do not necessarily reflect those of this station, its owners, or management. From the John DeVita Recording Studio, it's once again time for our monthly roundtable program, Meet the Chicago Historians. Today we present our July edition, recorded for posterity on the 15th day of July in the year of our Lord 2013. Now here he is, everybody's favorite electronics troubleshooter and jack of all trades, John DeVita.
Well, thank you, Rich. From the John DeVita Broadcast Center, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another broadcast of Meet the Chicago Historians on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network on Monday, July the 15th, and this is the year of 2013. Today's panel will be talking about the greatest crimes in Chicago's history, such as the Richard Speck killings, the Grimm sisters, and much, much more. So sit back and enjoy Meet the Chicago Historians. And now to start today's program, here once again is our announcer, Rich Lang.
And now here's our panel moderator, Jack Red Ryan.
Good afternoon, everyone, or what should we say good day, depending on what time of day you're listening to or pre-recorded. So, this afternoon for us, it's the 15th of July. Summer is in full swing. And it's kind of more of a swinging summer than usual with the precipitation we've had. Of course, in 2 months we might be looking for, you never know, we're going to have a drought around here. So let's not complain too much about it. Baseball has reached its official mid-season mark, a little over it, as a matter of fact. When the All-Star break is upon us right now, we'll be done tomorrow, and so summer will be. The days are now growing shorter. I got Tom McKenna. You'll remember Sister Euphemia. I had her in 6th grade, but you didn't. You had Sister Agnes Virginia. But anyway, one of the questions on the geography. I got to bring this up now. It says, multiple choice. In summer, the days grow longer, shorter. Well, I took shorter, and she said that was wrong, and I tried to argue it. I mean, inasmuch as the 21st of June is the summer solstice, right? Right. The longest day of the year. Right. So then they are growing shorter, even though they are longer. Right? Well, I guess it was a poorly worded question for 6th grade geography.
Well, John, that was one of the major differences between us. I was smart enough not to argue with a nun.
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of like arguing with a wife, I guess. hope the wife isn't listening here. So, another little one I got to mention. Our grandson, that's Deanna. Deanna is the grandmother, and I'm the grandfather. Nothing to it, folks. And Michelle, our daughter, and her husband, Sean Corey, as the parents. Our little guy, Jack, that's John Jeffrey Ryan Corey, just had his first birthday party Saturday, and he's 1 year old. That's what it would be on his first birthday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't believe that the years going by that quickly. So, hello, Jack, if you're listening. Everybody else.
You could always say the 12-month birthday.
Well, when do you stop counting months? Does anyone know? He's 18.
When John's grandson was born, he was born in Washington, D.C.
That's right.
So I texted him. I said, "This is the greatest thing come out of Washington, D.C. since the last election."
Yeah, 3.5 years. He was born at Georgetown Hospital. So that is it. So enough of this levity already. We'll discuss what's going on, the recent history, or what we always can call current events. Bill. We just had 19 firemen killed in Arizona.
A tragedy.
Oh, sure.
A big tragedy, Jack. And our prayers go out to those families and for those guys. One of them was from Zion, in Illinois, and I tell you what, I spent 46 years doing that kind of work, and I really feel for those guys that do the forest fire bit.
Air trenchers
They
and so on.
are just absolutely, fabulous fires, if you want to call them that. It depends on the wind, and those fires actually make their own tornado. That Santa Ana winds and those mountains out there just chase those guys around. God bless them. If you notice, they're all good shaped guys, all young guys, in good shape. And what do they call them? The hot shots.
Yeah, that was
Hot
the name of their
shots,
group. Yeah,
and
Hot Shots.
that's right.
Flame
They are
jumper?
hot
Is the
shots.
flame jumper a term they use? Or is that-
Well, yeah, they do. They do the jumping out of an airplane, and but
Those guys have really got to be nuts.
this guy is 19 of them in one jump.
Now, Bill, by the way, folks, Bill Klugerman's retired from the fire service, both in the fire patrol, the insurance patrol, and how many years with the Chicago?
2 years with the patrol, 44 years with the city.
And you were a battalion chief,
Yes,
and you were also head of the union, correct?
yes, for a while.
Yeah. Well, not forever.
No, not forever. Thank God.
no.
Thank God.
But I mean, I was trying to give a little background as to why I deferred to you there. So.
That was, and this was something that was just not there in Colorado. This was worldwide news.
Mm-hmm.
This was like Dick Scheide's picture going around after Our Lady of the Angels. It just shows people that we play cards
Yeah.
and we sleep at night like ordinary people. But when that bell rings, you better get your ass on the rig and do your job.
But the smoke jumpers are unbelievable people because they get caught in the trees. They got to be able to get themselves down in trees.
Well,
and
anybody
all
that
stuff like
jumps out of a good plane is nuts. And
one of the guys I was stationed
I did
with.
that in the Army, and they asked me if I wanted to do it the second time, and I just, nope.
I knew
No, thank you.
one of the guys I was stationed with. He wanted to be a smoke jumper, and he was doing these call them pull-ups with their legs, where he come down on pull his legs up, he put his knees behind a rod, then just come upright. The strength on that and all that stuff, and he was jumping like 6 times a day. It's just to practice, and
Those guys got to be in shape.
Yeah.
and instead he went out and joined the Rangers, got himself killed in Vietnam. But that's another story.
Now, are they federal employees? These is this
No, state.
Their state?
State, yeah.
Okay. Now, is there federal employees for the
I don't know, Jack.
huge holdings of forest and natural?
It could
national
be.
parks?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I
I'm
think they
not
got
sure.
federal investigators on
Yeah.
those fires
Yeah.
to make sure they're natural or what the causes of it were.
Well, sure, they are investigating.
Other than that, I don't think so. But the planes now are a problem because of the fact that the planes they used to use are no longer allowed by the federal. So now they bring in the C-130s, which is a great plane, no doubt about it. But I think it's about the only thing available now because the old KC-97s and the B-47s and Catalinas and all these other planes, they won't let them use them anymore.
Well,
Right.
you don't realize how lucky we are here in the city of Chicago, next to Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
That's what saves us. All that water and all of those hydrants around, and you go out there, you go out to the burbs and the just the burbs around Chicago. At least going out to Colorado and that, there's no water out there.
Well, take a
And
look.
these people would have to, I think if I'd build a house out there, I'd have to sprinkle the top of it with a separate well or do
Well,
something.
Well,
You have to
people
have
in the fire-prone areas now, they have to build with tile roofs. Because
Too late for the ones that don't, though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But the fact is that it's a structural thing too, because the weight on those tile roofs is very high.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, you look out here in our forest reserves, you wonder when the next fire is going to start there, because you got trees that are down and
An awful lot of trees down.
Yeah.
But you've got the fire departments around here. You got water.
well, yeah, but still, if you start in the middle and those things start going, you're going to have a problem, because every so often I see where grass fire started, and you got quite a bit of grass covered before they put it out, or it went out by itself, whatever the case was.
The thing I worry about is they have these controlled burns, and we've had a number of them that got away, but evidently they're able to control them, By the way, can I tell you one quick story about a paratrooper?
Please do, and identify yourself.
Ken Little, formerly of Wright College in the fire department.
Are you Mr. Wright?
I was when I was there. I was Mr. Wright.
You knew Wilbur very personally, didn't you?
He used to visit once in a while.
That's what I heard.
Anyway, this was a contestant in Art Linklater show or something. And he had a young paratrooper on there in uniform, and he said, "How many jumps does it take before you are a paratrooper?" He said, "All of them."
Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah, good answer.
Yeah, good answer.
I talked to people in the paratroopers, and they said that they have massed jumps, and if you don't get at least one killed out of those massed jumps, it's unusual.
Yeah.
Good friend of mine was pastor of Our Lady of Victory, and he just got kind of tired with the situation here in Chicago, and Chris Doring, he joined the 82nd Airborne. And he's over in Afghanistan, and
can you believe that?
Yeah, and he'll be back now with this bunch that's coming back.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to stay in
He's still a priest?
the Army. Oh yeah,
Chaplain.
he's a chaplain in there. Great guy, and but you ought to hear him talk about jumping out of airplanes.
He is so different. He's from our parish. I know his parents.
Yeah.
He rides a motorcycle. He's in a rock and roll band.
Got his own band. He wears all the Harley leather.
Yeah,
stuff,
he's over on Broadway, and
I had a good friend who was in the Army, and I think it was in Korea or just after Korea. He was transferred into a parachute unit, and he was not a paratrooper. And the company commander called him in, and he said, "I don't want any straight legs in my unit." Straight leg is the term that paratroopers use for non-jumping soldiers. And my friend said, "Well, sir, I didn't ask to be transferred into your unit." He said, "You take that up with the Army.
Yeah.
They told me to come here."
Yeah, right.
I got a funny story about the chaplain. We were going overseas in a KC-97 to the Azores, and on the way over, we started having engine problems. And somebody in there said, "Uh-oh, the chaplain forgot to say his prayers this morning."
Oops.
I go to the Chicago Police Mass twice a month. We have it, and our new police chaplain, Dan Brandt, always starts out the Mass with a list of people that have died or are very sick, and but mainly the people that have passed away since the last Mass. And he always goes through this list, and then he ends it with, "Now, does anybody hear of anybody that they would like to put on this list?"
Father Dan is a real character.
He is.
When Father Tom Nangle, the former police chaplain, when he was getting ready to retire, everyone said, "These are going to be really tough shoes to fill." But I was at Father Nangle's retirement party.
Yeah.
My brother was the MC.
We were there, myself.
And I remember when Father Tom was talking about the replacement, and he said, I got together with Father Brandt, and we were discussing about him being my replacement. I think we had the discussion at the Sugar Shack in Wisconsin, and the Cardinal was there. He said it in front of him.
And what else did he say? He's for gay marriage. He's Cardinal. That's all.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Cardinal showed up a little late. He says, "Oh yeah, you missed Father Dan. He's for gay marriage, pro-abortion."
He said, "I'm glad I missed it."
Yeah.
We couldn't. Yeah, no. I tell you what, the police and fire have been very, very lucky to have great guys as chaplains. You know, we got Tom Mulcrone and same kind of a guy, same kind.
Well, you know, it's funny. I mean, people always people that don't know police officers or firefighters, it's difficult for them to understand the sense of humor because
Right.
we're always joking and, you know, I mean, tragic situations, you find humor in it, and a lot of people question that, and they say, well, what is it with you guys? I mean, you're laughing about some tragedy, and I says, I can explain that. The reason that we laugh about it is because if we weren't laughing about it, we'd be crying about it. That's the way to relieve
Yeah.
our emotions.
Relieve
because-
that stress.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's important.
Exactly.
You speak of, Bill, you spoke of chaplains. Tom and I, Tom McKenna, myself, John Ryan, at St. Rita, we had Father Joe Hartman as a teacher in physics. And he was an assistant at one time.
Yeah, he was a fire chap years, probably,
Yeah.
what are we talking now,
Are you
40 years?
Anyway.
talking about, was it Joe Hartman?
Joe, yeah.
Because there was a Father Hartman, but
That was his name. I thought it was
Yeah.
John. for
Kind
you.
of
I thought it
a
was
kind of
some- I
a
thought it
small
was from-
Yeah,
guy.
right. Wiry,
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought he was from St. Rita. Is that
was.
right?
Yeah,
No.
he was a
He
teacher
was.
at
You know,
St.
he was really unofficial because
Wow, was
he
he?
was, well, he's an order priest, and Quinn wanted him, and Quinn sort of took care of him.
Yeah.
Well, I wound up going to summer school for physics, and Tom and I and some of our guys from the neighborhood, we used to, later on, we'd go down to the fire gym and work out, especially in the winter. Nice big place to run, right in Navy Pier.
Navy
It's a huge
Pier.
once,
Sure.
that was like.
Right.
Sure.
And it was beautiful. You had the weights there, you had mostly running and basketball we did. So anyway, we got to know the commissioner there. He says one of his drivers, he knew us from the parish. We used to work with the kids in sports. So he says, after the workout, come on, use my sauna. We use this, and this was the hot the way a sauna's supposed to be. It was hot. So it was like belonging to a health club. Remember we felt like? So fast forwarding years later, I was directing traffic at Clark and Randolph, near the old Greyhound, and afternoon crossing, and the limo pulls up, and the window goes down, and hey, Red, where's City Hall? It was Commissioner, and I think Felix Kolk was with him, and some other chief. And how you doing, Commissioner? He says, he points to the back seat. He says, you know Father Hartman? I said, no, that son of a bitch sent me to summer school back in 1962. Wow, what's your name? Of course, he caught the humor of it. So I had my chance to say my piece, and I did.
Well, you know, Commissioner Quinn made one of the greatest statements ever made by a public official, in my opinion, when they were asking him, when they were coming out with the newer ambulances, you know, the modern day ambulances, and the fire department in Chicago was still using the old Cadillac ambulances. And Quinn summed it up at the end. He says, the way you look at it, what the hell, if they're going to go, let them go in style.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he said that too.
Yeah.
We used to call the old ambulance with the square box back all the time. You always call them meat wagons because that was basically what it amounted to. Because a lot of them were.
You talking about the?
That's not an old saying either,
Yeah,
Al. It's still
No,
used.
yeah, I know.
It's still used.
Are you talking about the police paddy wagon?
No, this is the Air Force.
Air Force.
gee.
The Air Force. We don't have one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we did one
In
time.
Chicago.
We're going to rent one from China.
So,
We're gonna have to rent the boats too.
yeah, they're leasing them to us. Probably send us some junks.
Oh.
And by the way, I don't think you gentlemen didn't identify yourself.
Al Opitz.
Al Opitz, and you. This is the most modest guy we've ever had come on here. He's here for what, a couple of years before he tells us he was a chemical engineer.
Yeah, well,
He
I'm a
told me that. I
chemical
said,
engineer.
what railroad, you know?
Yeah, well, you know, we're the ones that say, well, that crude oil over there in Canada doesn't explode.
It burns though.
John
It burns
Cushel?
if you put it at a high enough temperature, but you
Yes,
got to put it
John?
a high enough temperature.
You're a recovering politician, correct?
No, I'm not recovering from it.
Still act in progress, work in progress.
I'm still interested in it. Let's put it.
Oh,
that
yeah.
way. Yeah.
You know, as am I. Got three favorite sports: baseball, football, and politics. At least one of them goes year-round.
Right.
There's no training camp either. Seems like a presidential politics runs on forever now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The next presidential campaign begins when the last one
Yeah.
ends.
Yeah.
Well, we got the governor's race coming up a couple of years, or a year.
next year.
Next year.
Next year.
You know, the thing that gets me is there's always a scandal. Now it's Metra. You know, we still don't know what happened there. you
Well,
know.
I like
What
the
would
front.
Illinois politics be without scandals? I
Well,
mean, we didn't have Illinois
I mean, they
politics
just
without
keep
scandals.
coming on. You know.
I like the front page of the Sun Times. They had Mike Madigan's picture, and the headlines were Mike Madigan attempts to influence jobs in Metro. I said, "What's the headline tomorrow?
Yeah.
The world is round."
Yeah.
No, that's about true because
Pope is found to be Roman Catholic.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
How about equal angles are equal?
I remember working for the city of Chicago. A lot of guys were Mike Madigan's group. They got the job through Mike Madigan, so that's nothing new.
Well, what is it? John Cass is on the Tribune guy is on WLS in the morning. He calls Illinois Madaganistan.
Yeah,
Might as well.
I sent my daughter a birthday card. Chicago, Madaganistan. What is it? We got there. Okay. One man we haven't heard from. What's your name, sir?
Tom Tyler.
And you are a real broadcaster, right?
Well, I am a former broadcaster. I was with WEDC Radio back in the 60s, quite some time back there. And I happened to run in John DeVita at one of the finer food stores. That's how I got to be on this panel. And he said, "Hey, why don't you come across?"
Right,
you know,
one of
but
you injured when you ran into
Yeah, I
him,
was
or-
going to ask the same question.
No, actually. But he knew I was interested in broadcasting. He said, "Hey, why don't you come up?" So I said, "Okay, great." So I came on the panel, and
Did he tell you don't get paid?
yes, he did.
Well, it's richly indulgenced.
Yes, that's right. So, and I had some experience at WGN. I worked there about 6.5 years in the background, in like radio traffic.
Where's that?
WGN
Oh,
television
WGN, yeah.
and radio.
World's greatest newspaper, that means. Huh?
Exactly. So I was radio transcription as well as radio traffic, and I worked in television, film, news, and editing. So.
Now, what's this? Oh, go ahead. Who's going to speak?
I was just going to say, were you on Bradley Place?
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
Both radio and television were there at the time. It was
Yeah.
69 through
Are
75.
they still over there?
They're split up now.
Yeah.
I believe radio's down in Michigan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
radio's
radio's down
on
Michigan,
Michigan.
the other one's across
T-
from Lane
TV
Tech.
is,
Right.
Yeah.
Bradley Place.
It's a nice, a little small, but nice.
That was
venue.
Bozo in Bradley Place?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that really came out of that place that was good.
That was the last, there was something like 28 or 30.
Eddie Schwartz was there, and I was on.
Uh-oh.
Eddie
Oh,
Schwartz.
yeah.
Chicago's
Well,
that?
plus, you know, they had Wally Phillips did his show from there.
Roy Leonard,
Roy Leonard.
Carl Grayson.
Yeah.
Art Roberts.
Carl Grayson.
Roberts.
He was at WLS, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
And of course, you got all the WGN sports there. You got Jack Brickhouse at the time.
Yeah.
Marty
Yeah,
McNeely
it
was
was,
there.
yeah.
Oh, Marty McNeil.
Yeah.
Remember Jack
Bozo
Brickhouse
Circus.
did everything. He did boxing, wrestling, football, baseball, basketball, movies, news. He would do the latest
Wrestling.
movie, and there was a product called, anyone remember Coral Stone, what it was called? It was like the fascia fronting for your house. It was molded plastic, looked like stone. Remember that? So part of the demonstration,
I bought some.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
so live television, Brickhouse, Jack would take a torch and move it up and down and show how it doesn't burn, you know. Well, he held it on a little too long. Scorch mark. And he said, now you can see, folks. Yes, I go out with the same thing. How this Coral Stone resisted the burning of stone. So the next week, the president of Coral Stone was on to do the demonstration himself. I don't know. Jack was still there, but the president was with him. But yeah, he did that. He did radio stuff, spots.
He did a lot of intros for shows.
Yeah.
You know,
He would be
master
down at
of
the amphitheater
ceremonies.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Was he ever home?
I don't know, but
He can sure mangle the English language. I guess he gave lessons to Daly, huh?
oh, he wasn't bad though. Really.
He liked to pronounce things backwards and.
Well, Harry Carey was the guy.
Harry
Harry
Carey,
was
yeah.
his
Well, he
words.
took that. I think Harry got it from Jack
The
Brickhouse.
strange thing is that Jack is replaced by Harry Carey, who's older than he is.
Yeah. Jack Buck said when he started in broadcasting with Harry, he was 5 years younger than Harry. And now we're the same age, he said.
Oh yeah, yeah. Those were Harry was.
Why is it that people in Chicago, or at least the the news people seem to forget that Harry spent 11 seasons doing White Sox games.
Oh yeah.
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 And I don't care what anybody says. When him and Jimmy Pearsall worked together, that was the best thing on TV. Period. It was just a list of them.
Well, my favorite story about the difference between a White Sox fan and a Cub fan, they were interviewing, I forget who the ball player was, the leadoff. It was at leadoff man. It was at Comiskey Park, the old Comiskey, and I forget who they were interviewing. But whoever it was when Harry Carey was in the hospital, and the ball player said to I even forget who the interviewer was, but he said, you know, I know we're here at Comiskey, but I just want to, you know, send condolences out to Harry Carey and his family, hoping that he recovers.
Was he now with the Cubs?
Yeah, he was with the Cubs,
Yeah.
but the interview was at Comiskey.
Yeah.
And I hope that he recovers soon, and he's a great guy. And in the background, there's a Sox fan holding up a large sign that says, "Drop dead, Harry."
Harry.
I mean, Sox and Cubs.
Good sportsmanship there.
Oh, right, excellent.
You know, one of the nice things that Jack Brickhouse did, he was talking to Lou Boudreau, who didn't have a job at the time, or at least wasn't, you know, gainfully employed. He said, "Why don't you come on down and do that show, you know, the pre-game show, you know, and you do it right on the field, and you know." Lou is, of course, from Harvey, Illinois, and you know, and he's a native here. So he did the show, you know, and then of all things happens, Lou gets a chance to manage the Kansas City Royals, and Harry says, "Why would you go to?" Who were in last place? He said, "Why would you go to manage a team in last place?" He said, "Jack, it's the major leagues. That's why."
Besides that, I can't go down any further.
Yeah, right.
Well, remember.
You know, he was looking out for him. You know, of course, managers come and go.
Yeah, they sure do.
You only know two things. You know, you got to get hired and fired.
Lou Boudreau, Vince Lloyd, and Lloyd Pettit were all doing WGN Sports at the same time. And there were some fans that weren't able to distinguish one from the other, and they would call them by the wrong names. And I remember Boudreau had this little poem that he recited on TV once. He says, "I don't wince if you call me Vince, but I get annoyed if you call me Lloyd."
Lloyd, yeah. You remember the time Vince Lloyd interviewed President Nixon? He was in
Vaguely,
yeah.
yeah.
I think it was at Wrigley Field, and the next thing you know, he's talking to the president. By the way, his real name was Scaff. Vince Lloyd.
Yeah, I remember reading that.
Nixon's real name was Scaff too.
What's the last name?
Scaff. Skaff.
What is that?
It was his real name was Vincent Lloyd. Those were his first two names. And
Vincent Lloyd Scaff.
Scaff. He was an excellent announcer.
Oh yes, he was.
He was good.
Yeah. Always kind of overshadowed by all the other
names.
Yeah.
Name or something? Or?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. He had a great.
And Lloyd Petit.
Lloyd Pettit, yeah. And Lloyd did everything. He did basketball. He did
Great hockey.
Hockey. That's what I really did, is hockey.
There was a fire near Wrigley Field. They sent him over to cover the fire. They did.
Listen, as long as you guys are on baseball, we have and I hope this goes out, we have a baseball game coming up between the Chicago's finest, the Chicago Police, and the Chicago's bravest, the Chicago Fire. And that's going to be at Cell Field, or whatever they call it now.
Yeah.
So,
And this is August 2nd. Gates open at 6, and the tickets are only like $5 or $10, and it really is.
And I think it's free parking, if I'm not mistaken. So
It could be. It could be.
it's a big. It's a big. It's a big advantage.
And it's always a good game. You know, one year they have it at Wrigley, and the next year they'll have it here at Cell.
I was at the football game at St. Lawrence between the Chicago Police Enforcers, and I think it's the Chicago Fire Blaze.
Yeah.
The best way I can sum up the game, from my perspective, being a police officer, is at the end of the game, a review of the scoreboard met with negative results.
I tell you what,
but it was a good.
This is hardball
game, and
Yeah.
This is hardball now, and
Not 16-inch.
it's a good game. No, it's hardball.
Hardball,
But
yeah.
there's a softball game where the police and fire get together and play the Blackhawks at
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what they
Yeah,
call
so-
it. Do they call it Wrigley?
Something like that, yeah.
Cubs Park or
Yeah,
something in Humboldt Park.
Yeah.
And that is a real nice stadium.
Yeah.
That I think the Cubs funded it, and it's really a good time.
Hold on. Wait.
We'll be right back to the discussion
Hey, let me-
following this short intermission.
Hey, let me on these things, will you guys?
Why?
Did they have a game already with the Hawks?
Put
and
your
that?
name down. No.
Yeah.
Well, friends, summer is here, and now is the time to think about your roof, siding, and gutters on your home or place of business. We could get some heavy rainstorms in the next few months, so be sure the roof, siding, and gutters are in good shape. You don't want mold or mildew in your attic or crawl space, or you don't want drip on the ceilings in your rooms, or have your walls damaged by a leaky gutter or bad siding. So don't have double expense. Sooner or later, you are going to have to get them repaired. So call Best Brothers Roofing, Siding, and Gutters at area code 630-616-1359. And Mike Best will drive over in his shiny red truck with ladders on top and Best Brothers Roofing signs on the doors. Mike will look over your roof, siding, and gutters and give you an estimate and go from there. So don't have double expense. Call Best Brothers Roofing for a free estimate at area code 630-616-1359. That's Best Brothers Roofing, Siding, and Gutters at 630-616-1359. Call today, area code 630-616-1359.
And it was funny when you went to Austin Avenue. It wasn't a large section.
Now back to Meet the Chicago Historians. Jack?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, Rich. Very good. Well, I hope everyone is having as good a time as we are. 'Cause we really love coming here every month, and hope you're enjoying the show. Now, we were talking about things current, which would be like new history or tomorrow's history, or as I say on the History Channel, history made fresh every day. We had just had the George Zimmerman trial acquittal, and we're getting reactions around the country as the press boys seem to want. Well, never let the facts get in the way of a good story, right?
Yep.
And just hoping that people will stop and realize if they don't know. I guess Tom can tell you. Bill has a lot of experience, police and whatever. Hundreds of cases a year go by in self-defense. No one is charged with anything. They never do a day. They're never handcuffed, and it would be similar to what happened here. And I don't even know if he should even gone and been charged with help. Was anybody, Tom?
Well, first of all, I have to say is, and almost everyone that's, speaks about this says that it was a tragedy, and I echo those sentiments. I mean, it was terrible. I'm sure that Zimmerman wishes it never took place. The Martin family, I'm sure, wishes that it never took place. But the problem is, and again, as John said, don't confuse me with the facts. I mean, this thing has gotten so blown out of proportion. If you were from outer space and just landed here and knew nothing about this incident, you would think that a young black male was walking home and a white man walked up, shot him and killed him for no reason. I mean, that's the way it's being portrayed. And that isn't the case. And again, having been in situations and being a police officer for 34 years and being able to carry a gun for, now over 40 years, you just hope to God that nothing like this ever happens. But if it does, and again, the facts of the case, and 6 jurors heard this and I guess agreed with what I'm about to say, is if you're on the ground and someone's on top of you and striking you, and you're in fear of your life, and you have a weapon, I would say now's the time to use it. And that's basically what happened. Again, it's a tragedy, but the way it's being portrayed is not really the way it took place, and it's unfortunate. And to use this and to incite to race bait by using this particular incident, I mean, first of all, Zimmerman was not white. He was white. Well, they're referring to him as white Hispanic. But the thing is that race, in my opinion, just wasn't involved in this. It was an incident that took place. And again, the news media, I mean, it was just outrageous what they did. There was a station in Florida that adjusted the tapes, the 911 call, and completely edited out.
NBC did that. That was
Oh, was it
NBC Network did
They
that.
edited out the question from the 911 dispatcher, can you describe him? And he said, he looks like he's black. They edited that out, and it just said, he looks like he's black. I mean,
as if he was adding that without any prompting.
I mean, they should be ashamed of themselves.
The whole
could
thing
actually
turned
mean
into
that
a-
the national media slants the news. I mean, that would be a shock to think that the national media would slant the news.
But the other question was that they showed George Zimmerman's head with all the damage that was done to it, and apparently that was forgotten along the way. It was showed at the beginning of the I say trial or episodes or whatever you want to do it, and you never heard anything more after that. So that's the question that the do-gooders, Jesse Jackson and what's his name on the South Side, the priest, they all forget about these little things.
Well, the photograph that they showed of Trayvon was when he was 12 years old.
Yeah, that's the thing that bothered me.
This occurred when he was 17. So I mean, right there.
And he was nothing more than a punk. That's what really got it. And now all of the race baiters, and you just named them, Jesse and Al and all the rest
Right,
of
and
them.
they completely ignore the facts.
Yes.
I mean, Trayvon had marijuana in his system. Maybe this was a tragedy about to happen when Trayvon was growing up.
Zimmerman's going to have to hide for the rest of his life.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing about it.
Oh, sure, because they right now are calling for him,
and
they want to indict him again on federal. The DOJ wants to give that,
Violation
and that
of civil
brings
rights.
back exactly, and that brings back what happened to Bill Cozy from the Chicago Police.
Right, exactly.
He was exonerated, and then a certain ex-superintendent came in and just completely ruined his
life. The same
life.
thing happened in the Rodney King incident.
Yep.
Those police officers were found not guilty, and then they were
trial by
tried.
media is
The
what
thing
it
is, if you criticize our judicial system, which I have done, and probably everyone in this room has done,
absolutely,
it's not perfect. But the thing is, you can't applaud a verdict like OJ's and then condemn it in a verdict like Trayvon. I mean, it's it is what it is. You can't say it's a great system when we win, and it's a terrible system when we lose.
Well, that's the problem right now. It didn't go the way we wanted it to go, so consequently, the judicial system is incorrect, wrong. Zimmerman is guilty, and so forth, so forth, so forth. Like the old Wild West with the kangaroo courts. He's guilty. We'll have a trial, and we'll prove that he's guilty.
We give him a trial, then we'll hang him.
We'll give him a fair trial, and then we'll hang him.
Yeah, basically.
Judge Roy Bean or something going on here, right?
Close enough.
Yeah.
And again, the bottom line in this is our president is making a comment about a local trial when there is wholesale slaughter in the inner cities of every major city in this country, and there's not a peep,
including his hometown.
Yeah.
Far from his
One of the worst.
In Chicago. In Chicago, I mean, not to fan the flames here, but in the city of Chicago, a young white girl was waiting on the corner for a bus on her way to work. She was pulled into a gangway, brutally beaten and raped by a black man, and there isn't a peep out of the media about that. Not a peep.
Nope.
Or all just a black on black crime.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
well, one,
That's
one,
right, that's what the problem
one
is.
shot the other one, who cares?
Yeah. Well, the other thing now comes in there. This weekend they had 16 shootings. I think six got
dead.
killed.
Yeah.
And most of it probably on the west side. I didn't see the morning
South
paper.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the Red Eye. Red Eye is good about listing where the homicides occurred.
So Tom and I often see our old street, our bone blocks mentioned there, 65th and Damon, 63rd and Hermitage for Tom. So 65th and Damon was the other day.
And the thing is, sometimes I feel like I'm living in the twilight zone. You get, how many shot, how many dead, and our police superintendent said, well, our programs are working. It's unfortunate that all these people are being shot, but it's working. I don't think so.
Well, the mayor of Washington, D.C. many years ago said,
Tom McKenna.
the crime rate in Washington is down if you don't count murder.
Right.
Gentlemen, has anyone ever heard of a chief of police of a big city, or any other city for that matter, in their town, say that he couldn't use more men?
Absolutely not.
This is the first time I've ever heard it.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And you talk to any copper or and now it's beginning to be the firemen too, out on the street, and that's the first thing they talk about. And now to show it is the amount of overtime that we, the citizens, are paying, and they're worried about, to really take this to another level. They're worrying about this pension stuff.
Yeah.
Well, there's nobody there to pay into our pension.
Yeah.
You got to hire. You got to keep it up to the level.
I think right now is the lowest population of both the police and the fire department in years.
I don't know, they keep saying 13,000 or something, and I know when you and I come on was probably the biggest buildup in history for the Charlotte Police Department.
Right,
How many?
I don't know what it was, but I mean,
from
every year
1966 up until 72, I think
Yeah.
they put 5,000 guys in.
Yeah, but I mean that's actually got 5,000, not just replacing others.
Right.
Well, I tell you what, no matter what your thought about what we did in 1980 when we went out on strike, we went out for manpower. That was one of the first things that we wanted was and thank God we've got that.
Yeah.
We've got it in black and white, and if we, God help us if they give that up, but they have to keep us manned, and it's a damn shame that the police don't have that too, because you see those empty squads in every lot.
That's what you don't see on the street.
Yes.
Well, plus,
Right.
Well, the other thing,
plus they all they're doing is going from call to call.
Right.
I mean, street stops and preventive police work basically in the districts is
It's
non-existent.
nothing,
When somebody comes up on the air, the terminals and the squad cars, the computers, now they're called PDTs, and they hit the button that they're available, and maybe 30 assignments will come up because they got to assign them somewhere, and it's all like loud reports, which is basically shots fired. Disturbance with teens, suspicious,
Whatever it may be,
right, whatever. So they don't have it. They don't have a chance to do anything else. Just
Before that
refine.
happened, we used to say, "Get your pen out." Remember?
Yeah.
How often did you not get a lunch?
Oh yeah, right.
Even I did.
well, we noticed that.
Well, no, I'm telling you, I made up for it. But
But anyways, the other thing that's coming up now is the concealed carry. 49 other states have concealed carry, except for the state of Illinois. Well, now they have it here too, but everybody's preaching gloom and doom. And again, the people that are most the problem are the ones that are firing illegal weapons, not necessarily the ones that are registered weapons.
Naturally.
And of course, the people that are legal get the brunt of the accusations.
Only honest people follow laws like that. I mean,
Yeah, right. I mean, isn't that foolish?
That's what I said when I think the latest bill by the state legislature, again, to address this problem was if you use a gun in commission of a crime and you don't have an FOID card, it's a different. It's a higher level penalty.
Yeah.
I said, I'm sure all the Latin kings, as soon as
Worried
they
about
read
it.
that, were saying, "Hey, man,
Yeah.
we better go get that FOID card."
Yeah, I'm going to get one. Yeah.
Disciples really care about it.
It's ridiculous.
Well, the other thing comes on, and I got this so-called RICA law that came into effect where if the gang member is caught, they can go after the leader of the gangs to prosecute him.
Has that happened yet?
I don't know, but
No, it hasn't.
No, but the fact
They
is
arrested
that,
a whole bunch of
Who's the
people.
leader?
Who's the leader? Yeah, I
Mickey
know
Mouse,
that's the
I
problem.
suppose.
Yeah. The trouble is they arrested all the leaders. Now they got a whole bunch of neighborhood gangs out instead of
factions
yeah.
out there.
Yeah, I know, a lot
Well,
of
that was against the antitrust laws, so they broke them up. Made them break up into smaller gangs.
You know, the thing
But,
that bothers me is, I was in the fire department, just imagine when you get 30 or 40 shootings, that's 30 or 40 ambulances.
Right.
Who's left?
Right.
And they're all going with assist companies.
Right.
Every day they're seeing people shot,
Well, the other thing was the fire department would answer calls in certain neighborhoods, and they would have to have a armor squad with them to go and protect them from shootings that's going on.
And they don't. And they don't.
Well, I hope, we were talking about this yesterday with some retired Chicago police, and we were all in agreement that hopefully when this concealed carry bill, comes, full-fledged into existence, that the Chicago Fire Department will petition to at least, I'm not saying, arm all firefighters with the AK-47s, but paramedics.
What's wrong with
at
that,
least,
Tom?
right.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Bill. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I
Okay,
know, I'm
right.
sorry.
And rocket launchers. but anyway, but at least somebody on the rig. Maybe the engineer, somebody on the ambulance. Senior man armed. I have no.
You know what? When I was president of the union, I had a chance to get a vest for all of our paramedics because we had several incidents of stabbings and guns and that. And the Illinois State Police, of who I know about, the guy called me and he said that they are going to change all of theirs and they will have a lot of them, a whole truckload of them.
That's
Some
good.
of them brand new and in the box. The guarantee only lasts for so many years, and then
it's
they were
5
going to
years, something like that.
redo the whole thing.
Plus,
Yeah.
Bill, you jogged my memory when I remember in the West Side riots, driving around, the firefighters did have better weapons than we had.
Oh yeah, I was
You
there.
can attest to that.
Oh yeah, but I was I had this truck. They had it loaded. I was going to have them drop it at the Union Hall and give it out, and I was told no, that the city would not put up with the liability issue. And here it was all free,
yeah.
and we really had it. But
And-
yes, we did. We were armed very well during the
yeah.
King riots.
Yeah.
and,
Mr. DeVilla?
Just yesterday I was up in Wisconsin and I got a message on my pager that they had a Plan 1 at 68th and Western Avenue for a picnic that had gone very bad. 68th and Western, as was Marquette
Probably
Avenue.
wasn't the only one.
Yeah.
Either.
It's so bad it's out off the picnic grounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, what you said too about what you just said about something. What were we talking about?
Guns.
Yeah.
Weapons, firefighters,
Well, I watched
West Side riots.
Yeah.
I watched a TV program one time. It was out west where they were showing their armament as such, and some of the guns they have out there, unbelievable. They got machine guns, Gatling gun type of things, and rocket launchers and everything else. They were out at the practice range, and first of all, I couldn't afford. I see how they can afford to shoot all this stuff, But
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
$5 a round, if not more. For this.
It's like
cheap
4th
one.
of July. These people that are shooting
this-
off all these
this put-
fireworks can't afford
Yeah.
They
a
got 'em.
pot to pee in, but they got them.
They got them.
Well,
hours.
this big push for gun control, it's a classic example of the law of unintended consequences, because there have been more guns sold and more ammunition. As a retired police officer, it's a nationwide bill. It really doesn't apply to this concealed carry in Illinois, because we've had it almost since I retired, when we have to go and qualify once a year. It's the same course that active duty police officers have to qualify with. But to get to the point, when I went and I was looking, because I fired a revolver and a 9mm semi-automatic, try to find 9mm ammunition now. And the reason is because everybody's buying it and stockpiling it.
Yep.
Tom, I deal with a place on Central out in Arlington Heights, Village Sports, and I went out there to do something, and I asked Phil, I says, where is everything? And he just looked at me and he says, Bill, he says, after that school in Connecticut, he said, we sold out.
Yeah.
He says, and you know what? I'm moving. And he says, I'm not going to put it in. He says, I'm moving to Lake County. He says, this Cook County is nuts with all of the things that they have to go through and jump through hoops. It's nutty.
And some of the proposals, like we want to have a concealed carry. Oh, but the guy that head of was it Claypool, head of the CTA?
Yeah.
Not on the not on the CTA way. Oh, so all the stick men go over to the CTA.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Well, I like what
Somebody
Tom
else says not around. Was it Quinn says not around the liquor establishments? Oh, let's go over to Stick Up a Tavern.
Yeah, right.
I like what Tom Dart said. He says this gun control thing. He says, he says we don't want the county to get like the Wild West. Well, guess what, Tommy
Guess what?
boy?
Yeah, look
around.
Look out the window and take a
It's
look.
like lambs to the slaughter.
Yeah.
Well, I
Wild West is less calm. Is more calm than it is here.
Well, another one of my favorites is when they're talking about limiting the amount of rounds in a magazine. One of the I forget what legislative body she was a member of, but she didn't know the difference between a bullet and a magazine. These are people that are voting on this.
Right.
Yeah.
But one of the major arguments that absolutely drives me insane is when the anti-gun people say to someone that wants to exercise their Second Amendment rights, they say, "What do you need a gun that has a magazine that carries 30 rounds? What do you need that for? Do you really need it?" These are coming from people that live in homes that have 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, they have 5 cars, and they are talking about someone exercising their Second Amendment rights. Do they really need it? It had got nothing to do with need. If it had to do with need, then all these critics of the Second Amendment should sell their homes. If there's only 2 people in the you have a 1-bedroom home, 1 bath, because what do you need 4 bathrooms for?
Yeah.
It doesn't make the slightest bit of sense.
It's like the
That's
old time guy that said
great simile, Tom.
when he was asked, "Well, why did you shoot him 6 times?" That's all I had.
Yeah.
That's all I
I
had.
only had 6 bullets.
By the way,
Well, I think most-
Jane Byrne, you're talking about living in a thing. Jane Byrne is in the hospital and not doing too well.
Yeah, that's
She's
what
been sick
I
for a
heard.
long
She was
time.
sick.
Yes,
She's
and
been sick for a long time, though.
no, there was a rumor going around, and that was not true.
Oh, okay.
I thought she
heard.
was suffering Alzheimer's.
Well, and that was the
I
rumor
tried to
going
get her over
around.
at Wright to give
That was not
I
true.
thought- oh,
that was not
okay.
true.
That
Then
was-
she just
that was
was
a cover.
busy, and she was there. But now she is.
Yeah.
Now she is, and she has several problems. So
Yeah.
Where's she?
people. She's at Rush.
Yeah.
She's at Rush.
She's
I think it's Rush.
she was still had the apartment on.
Oh yeah,
Chestnut.
no, she still lives there.
Yeah.
One in
'cause-
Cabrini too, right?
Well, that was
My
the-
I
grandson.
think they tore that down now.
My grandson.
Yeah, I
bought,
think so.
bought her book, My Chicago.
Yeah, I
And,
have it too. I have it autographed.
Well,
too.
I was going to go up there and have her autograph, and I did get up there, and
Oh,
she
yeah.
did autograph.
She recognized
And
you?
you know what day it was? February 14th.
14th.
Yeah.
Was that what?
That was the day I called for the strike.
Oh, that's okay. That's not, so everyone knows.
Valentine's Day.
Was that done deliberately or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
call her. No, we've been.
You devil, you.
but
Yeah.
Listen, we wouldn't have what we have without her.
Yeah.
The coppers all. Oh yeah,
that's
she was
right.
good to us. Well, they wouldn't have their
Oh, it's
their
good to-
contract
yeah.
without.
This good to
without
us
us
business. This nonsense. People talk that way. They're good to us. So that little lady really went for us.
Yeah.
Well, the problem come in is the dailies for the most part. Now his alter ego is up there. So now, but anyways, you go back to the guns. I lost my train of thought. Sorry about that.
Well, I can help you out.
We'll give you another train.
All right.
Yeah.
Gun goes boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Remember
know,
that.
and I-
Take the A train.
Yeah, take the.
Tell you,
when
you
the,
never saw
Don't
so
laugh.
much
That meant something.
fireworks the other night. You'd have thought that it was the 4th of July when they announced the Zimmerman.
Oh, yeah?
Thing.
Oh, I didn't hear
Even
that.
Dan Brandt mentioned it, that he was going down wherever it was, what highway, and he says they announced it on the radio, and he says a couple of minutes he said the fireworks were going off all over the place.
That's one small case, really. But I was thinking about was the straw buyers on guns was the big problem with the gangs because they'll send people out and buy half a dozen guns and they'll bring them into the city, and redistribute them, of course, to make money along the way. These gangs.
It's business. Those are entrepreneurs, is
I
what
know.
we call them.
They make good money on those things. So they get the guns for $400 and they'll sell it for $1,000 or $1,500.
Yep.
Really? That much? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A good Glock
Now you tell
runs
me.
about $1,000. A 9mm, a little less than
Yeah.
that.
Is that a Glockenspiel?
It's a
Glockenspiel.
Glockenspiel.
Yeah, well, when the sound
That's
goes
the
off, it
one
might
with the
sound
two
like
magazines.
Which magazines are they?
Uh,
Life and Time? Or?
It used to be.
Sports life.
You can't win with this guy.
Can't- Thank you.
Life, Newsweek.
I can't won't either.
But there is what you call the underground market for guns to gangs.
Is there?
Yeah, and this is one of the problems that they have, and they're trying to stop it.
Well, there always
And
will
it's
be.
not going to stop. It's
Yeah,
not
they're
100%
always-
guaranteed.
That's
but,
an old story.
Yeah, but
they
and,
still-
and you know what? They ain't going to stop it.
No.
I know it's not easy.
Not as long as they're human beings.
As long as you don't have
And-
responsible
and
citizens.
money.
Yeah.
And you can,
Yeah,
yeah.
well,
and money.
the gangs,
If somebody
50
can make a buck, why?
I talked to one guy who was a narcotics agent. He said he busted the place there, and he said these guys were loading cargo containers with dollar bills. They're just shoveling it in. There's so
Yeah.
much money made. And he said the money would fall on the floor. They'd leave it, and they just take the cargo container out.
Yeah.
There's so much money with the dope and everything else. And then you got, of course, the dope breeds guns, or the other way around, whatever the case is.
Well, if this drug problem continues, we might even get elect a president that actually used drugs. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, wait a minute, we have one.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah, we have one.
And you know what? We never get an answer, Tom.
Right.
We never get an. We don't know what the IRS or NASA or Benghazi or, there's never an explanation.
Well, he had nothing to do with any of it.
Yeah. You know what?
Happened.
You
The
know.
president has nothing to do with what goes on in the
You know what I would
administration.
say?
Those people have been fighting and killing each other for
Yeah.
hundreds and hundreds
Yeah.
of years.
Probably thousands.
Thousands.
Thousands
Yeah.
of years.
Egypt
yeah.
was fighting Syria, I think, 5,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Shiites
And weren't they part of?
And we're so good, we go over there and we
Yeah,
give
well,
them more airplanes and tanks
And
and
money.
guns and
Well,
money.
what's funny about the Muslims, especially the Arabs, is they have the Shiites and they got the Sunnis, and you don't pray the way we do, bang, bang, bang. It don't make any sense. They're both Muslims, but because you're not.
Then why do we get involved?
Yeah, why do we
I don't
get
know.
involved?
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
all.
I'll
wow.
tell you why. Because of Washington D.C.
Yeah.
That's a lot of Shiite to me, but anyway.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It seems like we got to stick our nose in somewhere, or we don't do it properly early enough in some spots. You have to look out. Number one, you have to look out for your own country's best interests. Is that true?
Exactly.
Don't you think that's
Yeah,
true?
well, you know what? The whole world is, is multinational now.
What,
We
where
got
in
to
the
take
world?
look at, some like AT&T is over in some place, and so we got to make sure that they can make a buck.
Where in the world is what is this place called? It was the Oh yeah, the United Nations,
Who was that?
peacekeeping, and when there was all this genocide going on in different places in Africa or whatever. And,
Where were they?
yeah, where were they?
Oh, they
Drawing a salary.
Sitting on their hands?
Drawing
No.
a salary,
Yeah.
that's all.
They were. It's dangerous over there. We can't go there.
Yeah.
Send the United States over instead.
Yeah, let the U.S. but then we'll condemn you later, of course. But between that and they make it sound as if the institution of slavery was started here in the U.S. And as we know, I imagine all of us had ancestors who were slaves of one sort or another, serfs, vassals,
Yeah.
indentured servants.
St. Patrick was a slave.
Yeah.
So slavery, it goes back probably again 5,000.
As old as mankind.
Yeah, and it's still going on. It's
Oh
still,
yeah, Africa, it's unbelievable. Still going on there.
Yeah.
But I think we're rolling up pretty soon, aren't we?
For this hour, yes.
Is it? Are we up there yet? Take
You're listening to Meet the Chicago Historians, and we're glad you are.
How are the tires on your vehicle? Do you need motor oil? Or transmission fluid? Or power steering fluid? Or antifreeze? How about the wipers? Are they in good, sharp condition? Is the washer fluid in your tank full? How good is your battery? Or do you need light bulbs? Do you need to replace light bulbs? Well, the place to pick up all these items is at Berkeley Auto Supply at 5237 St. Charles Road in Berkeley, Illinois. Stop in and see Tom, and he'll get any part or supply you might need for your vehicle. Tom at Berkeley Auto Supply has everything you need for your vehicle. He has every tool, part, and supplies you might need, from the front bumper to the rear bumper, from the top of the roof to the bottom of the chassis. You can call Tom at area code 708-544-8350, and they are located at 5237 St. Charles Road in Berkeley, Illinois. Tom's hours are Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturdays from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m., and he's even open on Sundays from 10 until 3 o'clock. That's Berkeley Auto Supply, 5237 St. Charles Road, and he is just east of Wolf Road and west of Mannheim Road, about 2 miles on the south side of the street. You can call Tom at area code 708-544-8350. For parts, tools, and supplies, it's Berkeley Auto Supplies at 5237 St. Charles Road in Berkeley, Illinois. And once again, his phone number is area code 708-544-8350.
This disclaimer again?
No, go ahead.
Back.
We return you to our discussion.
Thank you very much, Rich.
What's his name? Yeah.
By the way, we don't, our clock's not moving. Ah, there we go. Thank you, Rich. Now, Mr. Edward Nigma of Chicago is called, and he wants to know, and we had a letter from him. What is that theme we're playing? He thinks it's Dungaree Doll. So if anyone has any idea what it really is, let us know. You can send it, all your inquiries right here or your answers to John DeVita Studio. Okay? Thank you very much. Getting back now. Now, let's get to today's topic. The greatest crimes in Chicago history. Some may spill outside of Chicago, but that'll relate to Chicago. And anybody want to start with one? Anybody got?
Well, one of the things that's sort of interesting, some of the people that were involved with crimes are buried out here. The Gusenberg brothers were killed in the
St. Valentine's Day Massacre?
Massacre out here at Irving Park Cemetery. The family that was involved with the Bobby Frank's murder are buried out, including Bobby Franks. He's over here on Addison near Oak Park, and the family of the Leopold and Loeb families out here. Leopold and Loeb, neither one of them were buried out here. Leopold was killed in prison. Loeb lived to be a little bit longer. He died of a heart attack in 1960 or 71 or something like that. And he donated his body to science, so there's might be parts of him around somewhere, but in general they disappeared. So this area does have its connections.
Okay, let's stick to one. How about Leopold and Loeb? What do you know about that? It's famous. It's been portrayed a couple of times in fiction.
At least probably 6 books out on it, and I got one here.
Wasn't there a movie too?
Yeah. Compulsion.
Yeah, and there was also one called Swoon in more recent years, where they actually called them by their own name. In Compulsion, they use different names.
Yeah.
And Orson Welles is the lawyer who in real life would have been Clarence Darrow.
Yeah.
And but otherwise they were, I don't know, seemed pretty accurate. These kids were living in Hyde Park.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were from merchant class Jewish families, rather well-to-do.
Right.
They were all in the same
Exactly.
congregation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is, I'm not going to call them upper class rich, but they were not working. They were not blue-collar people.
They really were the upper class rich.
Yeah.
You know what the tragedy there is that they had no, the word compulsion, which was the name of the movie. They felt that they could kill anybody they wanted to and get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a terrible thing. It's one thing, we're talking about Florida and all that. Well, they had a confrontation and, somebody had a gun, but it wasn't equal. I mean, they hit Bobby Franks over the head with a chisel and he bled to death. What a terrible thing,
Well, we called him a serial killer.
Or thrill killer.
Thrill killer.
Yeah.
Thrill killer.
They want to prove they can get away. They're so smart.
Yeah,
right?
they're so smart.
They're simply amoral.
They forgot. One of them forgot their glasses, so they traced it through the glasses.
Through the glasses, yeah.
Yeah.
And at the trial, they were found guilty, but they just wanted to keep him away from the death penalty.
Yeah.
That's
well,
what the whole fight was
in the film Compulsion, right away he throws in a guilty, but all this other why they shouldn't be executed.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. In a way, it's an interesting defense. He said, if we kill these 2 boys and we never have another murder, go ahead and kill them.
Yeah.
But we're going to have murders. And then he changed the venue from jury to judge. Because the jury...
Oh, was he?
Yeah, the jury, he was positive would have...
Well, Clarence Darrow, I mean, he's a hero to a lot of people, and I'm sure he was heroic in many ways, but he was no angel either. He wouldn't go back to California because he had some jury tampering beef early in his career out there.
He did beat that, though.
Did he beat it?
Oh, yeah.
With a stick or what?
Oh, with a stick, yeah. 2 sticks.
Yeah, but he did beat that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he was out there for a couple of years. In effect, because he had to plead the labor case out there. He had to plead him guilty. And so as a result, he lost labor's, when he came back to Chicago after about 4 years, he was broke. He was
considered to be defense lawyer for Arbuckle in the famous trial against Arbuckle with the manslaughter that he was eventually totally found not guilty of and innocent.
Yeah.
But he couldn't go back because of this former thing that was going on.
Oh, okay.
I know when I read that.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. He had certain beliefs. Number one, if Leopold and Loeb could kill Bobby Franks, what gives the state the authority to kill Leopold and Loeb? You're still taking a life,
capital punishment.
two lives, So he brought things right down to the nitty gritty, he made, he was definitely against it, and probably is right, the death penalty. There are very few people that we would, really, maybe Hitler or a few people, some serial killer, that we
Hitler, Stalin, Mao.
Yeah, people like that, they killed millions of people, but
but they're all for the little guy.
yeah,
They proved it. They killed millions of them to show how.
yeah.
Well, the other one was the typewriter too that they found over at Museum of Science and Industry, and every year they have a celebration they call the Darrell Bridge over there.
Yeah.
And
I've seen the typewriter. It's
Okay, what's this about? What the Leopold and Loeb?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the typewriter they used to write the
Ransom note.
ransom note. Yeah, which was stolen from. I don't know if you're aware, but Loeb graduated from the University of Michigan at the age of 17. He's the youngest graduate, although they don't acknowledge it. And
Was he the one that was killed in prison? One of the two
Yes.
that killed.
Yeah, he was killed in
He was
prison.
brilliant. They're both brilliant. to some
Yeah,
degree.
yeah. But you know what? They were both doing crimes. They were setting they were setting fires.
That wasn't the only. Right. That wasn't the
there
only
was
crime
no. They
did.
were slowly. They think they killed, some guy. And they found a body out in the street. And they were stealing things, and they were, they were cutesy pie little guys. And they weren't getting caught.
Did they love each other according to?
No, not according to that. Loeb got married later on.
It was later on.
Yeah.
Leopold Loeb was killed in
Oh,
prison.
I'm sorry. Leopold was.
That might have been a marriage of convenience to get him out of that. Yeah, he went down to, where was it?
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, yeah. He
My heart's
married,
devotion.
yeah, he married a gal down there, and they think he always was a con man.
Con man?
Con man, yeah. He went to work in a medical clinic down there.
Yeah, right. I remember. I read that. Yeah. And
Yeah.
he died when?
Oh, I don't know.
A natural death, huh?
Well, yeah, he had a
Middle
heart
60s,
attack,
I
yeah.
think,
Yeah, but he was, and you know what? They were so forthright. Neither of them ever confessed to who hit Bobby Franks with the chisel. Yeah.
Anyways, Leopold died in 1971, August 1971. So his anniversary death is coming up another month and a half. So
Loeb was killed right after he went to prison, or
he was conflict of some kind in prison. One of the prisoners killed him.
it happens, doesn't it? Sometimes.
Yeah, he was
Stabbed in
killed.
the shower or something like that.
Yeah, he was killed in
30s,
37. So they went to jail. I don't know, 25
I was
maybe.
going to say, yeah.
Yeah. You know what's to me fascinating is the criminal courts building is, because I'm interested in history and architecture. It's all still there at 54 West Hubbard, I took a physical exam. It was part of the Board of Health, when I came in.
When we come on the job.
Yeah,
That was
right.
it. Yeah.
You took a physical, and they took fingerprints, and of course I had been in the Army already, but there's their houses are gone, both Leopold and Loeb. But you know what's fascinating? Bobby Frank's house is still standing. It's vacant.
Oh, where's that?
5052 South Ellis. So
Ellis,
it's at the
yeah.
corner of Ellis and Hyde Park Boulevard. And just north of there at 5017, which is where Loeb lived, the house has been torn down, but they had a tennis court. And Bobby Franks and Loeb were distant cousins.
Yep.
So Bobby Franks would go over there and ask him to play, on the tennis court. The tennis court's still there.
How old was Bobby? I don't even know.
14.
He was 14. These guys were college age, or
They were just a little bit older, 17 and 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. But see, they had gone to back to Michigan. They robbed the fraternity, stole the
Rob, what? I'm sorry.
Loeb's fraternity.
Fraternity house.
Yeah, they went. It was the end of a football game and everybody is drunk, and so they stole all their money and that's when they stole the typewriter. You know, so just, you know, for devilish, we can do it. And their parents didn't know what the hell was going on. You know,
I'm sure. Who would never dream it.
Yeah.
So, Ken, was there any motive for those killings, or what?
No, that's it. It's a thrill
They thought they
killing.
were Supermen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think they're so brilliant and.
Yeah.
Well, they forgot their glasses, so.
Yeah.
And if you go along with that as a thought, what happened there is what happens today, with the parents not knowing what's going on,
Yeah.
and the kids going out and doing what they want, and there's no parental guidance or anything. It's the same thing as today.
Yeah.
No, the trouble is
Same
some of the parents are worse than the kids.
Whatever. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that that's what it is.
You know, this goes back a long time. I hope I'm explaining it right, but Howard Miller had been married a second time, you know, and Howard was very well known. And his stepson was involved in something, and he was being, you know, with a police case, and he was being interviewed, and Howard and his wife walk in on the interview. They were out having, you know, maybe just having, you know, dinner and a few drinks. They didn't know what the hell was going on, you know, and I thought this is... In fact, I've talked to firemen out in the suburbs, you know, and they walk in and you know, and the kid is maybe overdosed, and they said, you know, he gets violent, you know, and the paramedic said, see this metal cylinder of oxygen? He's going to have it, he's going to eat it for lunch because I'm going to hit him with it. You know, he's not going to pick on me. Paramedics don't have to be assaulted, you know.
You meant Howard Miller, the former radio person?
Yeah, right, yeah.
No, he was married to a singer, wasn't he?
June Valley.
June Valley, yeah.
Was that the one? Or something?
No, it seemed like this was...
He was married a few times.
Yeah. But, I mean, it was just so strange that he appears during this basically interview, you know, with, you know, and let's face it, I had 10 kids, you know, so... you know, the kids get involved. You know, you walk in and the police are there. I never had it happen, but it's a terrible thing. You know, what are you doing? You know.
Knock on wood, I didn't have that problem, and anybody that doesn't should do the same.
Yeah.
We're sitting at home
Tough
one night.
bringing up kids today with all they see and do and what's going on.
Facebook and Twitter and.
Oh my God.
We got 2 daughters now who are now like beyond all that, upper 30s. But Jen, the older one, still gets carded. She got carded at the carnival 2 weeks ago. anyway, one night I said, "Why don't you guys go out and get picked up for curfew? You used to be out of the house." My wife thought that was terrible, but they were absolutely no trouble for us at all.
Yeah.
Good kids, and they're still good kids.
Now the problem is you.
All right, you better believe it.
Yeah.
In all of the newspaper
tell you that.
coverage given to Leopold and Loeb, that trial in the 20s, any subtle hint, any code words that might have implied their likely sexual orientation, or was that simply taboo in the press at that time? Very likely, and maybe scandal sheets might have.
It was definitely an undercurrent there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the... Also, one of them was dominant, and that might have been, you know...
Right.
You know,
Well,
so...
now when you come out of the closet, you get a call from the President of the United States.
Yeah.
Congratulating you.
Yeah.
How things have changed, huh?
Yeah.
I wonder what the subject of that conversation was.
Well, you got to look. You got to
This
look
is
back.
exactly what this country needs.
You got to look back at Roman times, if that is any indication. Some of the emperors were gay.
Yeah.
Listen, there's popes that were.
Well, there's no, you know, there's no. It's not like it's anything new, you know.
Yeah.
But as I said before with Tom in Chicago, it's the slogan should be Chick-fil-A, no. Gerbils are us, yes. You know, that's just about, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what the mayor said, you know, didn't he? That's not Chicago.
The Chick-fil-A, I mean, that's another. I mean, politicians, you know, opening their mouths and then realizing what they said.
If they ever realize.
I think it was Rahm Emanuel said that we don't tolerate those values in the city of Chicago. What, a man marrying a woman?
Yeah.
Are you insane? We don't tolerate those values?
Yeah. I had a chance to talk to that Proco Joe, whatever his name is, Marino. My daughter, who lives around Belmont and Elston, is in the first ward, although I guess they've chopped it up. But, you know, getting back to, Tom, your comment, maybe these people are better off coming out of the closet, you know.
Well, my thing is, I've always said that. I mean, I worked I worked partners with a guy in the Chicago Police Department that, as far as I know, he was the first police officer to actually openly admit that he was gay. And this is like in the 70s, when, I mean, nobody was out of the closet.
Yeah.
Well,
And I remember stopping some kids on their way to the prom, and the driver got out of the car and said, "Oh, come on, officer, you know, can't you give me a break? I'm on my way to the prom. You know, you know how that is." And he said, "No," he said, "I didn't go to my prom. That was before they were liberal enough to let me bring my boyfriend."
Well,
Did you see where this actress, I guess she's an actress or whatever, from Glee, this Lynch, is now
Jane Lynch, yeah.
going
Jane
to, yeah, she is now filed for divorce from her
oh, yeah.
whatever wife,
Yeah.
husband, or
Well,
whatever.
the divorce lawyers got to love this. I mean,
Oh,
It opened up a whole new.
Absolutely.
Doubling our market, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things too I look at too. They should have the same responsibilities if they go into marriage as the rest of the world has.
I think they do.
They would.
I think
Not,
they do.
not right
Yeah.
now. They don't.
I love it when they have the parade and it's on a Sunday and we have the mass, and Nangle or Brant would say, "Where's Klein today?" "Oh, he's at the parade."
well, you know, that's a classic example. I
And
remember
the police have their own
when that
float there.
When that, oh yeah,
Yeah.
the lesbian. It's not gay lesbian. It's lesbian gay police associate.
LGBT.
Yeah, well, that's the politically correct LGBT. But that's a classic example of politicians. When that parade first started, there wasn't a politician that would get within 10 miles of the start of that
Right,
parade.
yeah, right.
Now, because they're a big voting bloc, they're bumping their heads together
Exactly.
to get in front. I said if there was a big enough boil sucker vote in the city of Chicago and they had a boil sucker parade, all of these politicians would be bumping their heads together to get in the front of the boil sucker market.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you know what they say about two politicians getting their heads together, right?
What?
Perfect gas.
Ooh, that's not
But
nice.
Tom, do you think there's a conscious effort in the police department to assign gay officers predominantly to Boys Town, the area? Or isn't that a factor?
It isn't. I wouldn't say it was a conscious effort, but
Right.
they just seemed to gravitate there. I was a good friend of mine. He just retired as a sergeant from that district. That's the 23rd district. It's right by, incidentally, Wrigley Field. We'll leave that one alone. And and he said
Thank you.
not only well when they start, you know, when we came on, you know, there were only male locker rooms. Now, when the females start coming on, they had male and female locker rooms. In the 23rd district, supposedly now there is a transsexual locker room because, you know, you're male, female, and then you have a locker room for I don't know what the hell I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's given a whole new meaning.
That's the thing that is really scary.
It's given a whole new meaning
They-
to transfer lists.
Yeah. They
Well,
don't.
I knew a guy who was transsexual, and he's the ugliest woman I ever saw.
Was he a good-looking guy?
No.
Well, then, you know, had nothing to lose.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a strange.
Yeah, he
we
had-
have to live by their rules and their names, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
And,
he had a guy. Excuse me. Let's see if I can get this straight. It was a female that became a male, and he referred to her as her or she over the radio. He said, "Tell her I'll be right there," or whatever. And she was greatly offended by the fact that she is not a female anymore. Now she's
Yeah.
a male.
Yeah.
I had a
We are
It's
living
about time
by
we had
their
some guys on the
rules.
job with them, you know.
I had a firefighter that female fighter that I was notified one day that she's on medical, and to take her out of the manpower, which is not the right word to use either.
No.
And I said, "What's the matter?" "Well, we can't tell you." Well, what happened was she was going to wherever, Denmark or, you know, wherever it was, and Joe came back as Josephine.
Oh.
And she's now a it. is now a battalion chief on our job.
Yeah.
And,
Remember the Christine
and the thing
Jorgensen case
was
years
that
ago?
they,
The first one, yeah.
well, yeah, and everybody laughed at that, but it got so bad in the firehouse
Yeah.
that it was not he or she, it was it.
Yeah.
And it had to leave there and go into the bureau and to get away from that. So
Well, the state of Illinois doesn't recognize him as a her now or whatever. It's still a male, a mutilated male.
Well, the funny story,
That's
though,
right.
is there was a lesbian couple, and they wanted to have kids.
What? Who were they?
And one of them was transsexual and didn't quite get
It is a
complete the
fascinating
job.
topic.
Yeah.
I gotta subtly switch this.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
The job wasn't complete, and the other one couldn't get pregnant, the other partner. So this one still had her female sexual organs, even though they were starting to change over to the male. And she was the one who carried a child.
How the hell
And
did
they
you
said
know
it was a
all
man that got pregnant and delivered a baby.
Oh,
Well, that's what I said. I mean, that's the new, American family.
Yeah.
Two same-sex illegal aliens that adopted a Chinese baby.
well, and that's what that
Just
TV
imagine what it's
program
gonna-
is,
Tom,
The
what it's
Modern
gonna be in-
Family.
Yeah, that's right.
What it's going to be?
I'm not going to watch that.
I
Yeah,
haven't seen it.
what it's
No.
going to be in the future. Oh, you got this blacks and blacks of people. There's no children.
I know we didn't mean to
They
get on
should pay
this,
me for having those kids.
You know.
We're waiting on them.
Right now in Illinois, can a homosexual couple of either gender adopt?
Yes.
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 No, they have what they call a civil union.
They have
that I
had
know
that
of.
for a
Yeah.
long
They can-
time.
Yeah, they can adopt.
Yeah.
Other than the Catholic Church.
Yeah, I
of
think they
course.
have it.
There's no more adoption through Catholic charities.
Well,
They're gone, yeah.
I think they got what they call a civil union, and they want to get to the point where it says marriage instead of civil union. And
Yeah.
there's a difference in I'm not sure legality or whatever it is.
Oh, there's a. In fact, one of the things, quoting Deborah Mell, the alderman's, she said, "Oh, I can't wait until there's marriages legal in Illinois so I can reap the benefits." Social Security and different stuff like that,
Benefits.
Inheritance. Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the benefits.
Yeah, right. And I thought to myself, my wife and I will be married 60 years in November. What benefits did we have? Isn't that a terrible thing to say?
Well, that's like, I was asked, do I think that same-sex marriage should be legalized? I said, not only don't I think same-sex marriage should be legalized, I think heterosexual marriage shouldn't be legal and make that retroactive.
Yeah.
There is a part, a funny story about heterosexual partners, lack of a better term. There's a girl I knew when I was working for a company, and she had a contract written up. So it's more or less like a marriage contract, except they weren't married.
Oh.
And then what happened was her girlfriend, not the, female friend, boyfriend died, and the family essentially locked her out of the house, and she couldn't get any of her own possessions back. So this is where this case came into being, where she went to the lawyer to get this written up.
That's not right either. But people will do that, And I listen to Ro Khan, on the Roper every day. The first couple that were married legitimately in the state of Massachusetts, they're divorced.
Wow.
It lasted about 3 years.
I bet you the police is at their house once in a while, too. They investigate.
It could be, so it's
It's one of the
it's
cases.
not all that it's cracked up to be.
One of the cases now that just came up this morning was a house burned down, and the guy had serious burns, and his girlfriend was missing. And apparently, it was one of these places where they had domestic disputes considerable amount of times.
Uh-oh.
And they said that the coupling on the gas line was disconnected.
Yeah.
And they lit off the house, and they can't find her, so consequently she's
Yeah.
a prime suspect.
Isn't that a shame? And well, people are. That's why I don't watch any TV, and I hate so-called situation comedy or something,
Or these reality shows.
Oh, reality. It's not
Reality
real.
isn't reality at all. but,
No.
Well, the one that was most prevalent in this was
The reality is we got to hold it right now.
Oh, pardon me. We must once again interrupt the proceedings for some messages of interest and importance.
Al, you're up when we get back.
Okay.
Exhibitors Carpet Service has changed their name to Carpet Warehouse at 4300 West Montrose Avenue in Chicago, and their new location at 440 North Sheridan Road in Highwood, Illinois, called Carpet of Highwood. Stop in at Carpet Warehouse at 4300 West Montrose Avenue, and their phone number is area code 773-283-0100, or at 440 North Sheridan Road in Highwood, and their phone number out there is area code 847-266-1400. For carpet in your living room, dining room, bedroom, den, family room, or either location for a great deal. Once again, Carpet Warehouse, 4300 Montrose Avenue, phone number area code 773-283-0100 in Chicago, or Carpet of Highwood at 440 North Sheridan Road, and their phone number is area code 847-266-1400. Remember, if you need a carpet for your living room, dining room, bedroom, den, or family room, stop in at 4300 West Montrose Avenue in Chicago, and once again their phone number is area code 773-283-0100, or at 440 Sheridan Road in Highwood, Illinois, and their phone number is area code 847-266-1400 for a real great deal on carpeting.
Back to our historians.
Well, while we wait for Jack, oh, here he is now.
Back from the Kaibo. Anyway, we started off with Leopold and Loeb, the Bobby Franks killing, and we got on some pretty relevant discussion to today, correct?
Yeah.
You know what gets me is that, and anything else, not just this, don't be sticking it in my face constantly and reading about it and watching it and
well, one of the things that I complain about, though, is Hollywood. I think the first one that was not really the first one, but one of the most notorious was Chris Brinkley, not Brinkley, Edgar Bergen's daughter. She Candace Bergen. She decided she wanted to have kids and not get married and all this stuff, and a lot of publicity on this here. And
it was in the series. Did it really happen?
Yeah.
It did?
Well, was she gay?
No, she just didn't want to get married.
She never called me.
Okay.
Yeah,
She just wanted to have kids.
She never called me. What the heck?
Yeah.
I think she had a boyfriend or something like that, a living or whatever it was. But she was adamant about being self-sufficient and all this other stuff. And apparently some of it, the old trickle-down theory is, if she can do, we can do it type attitude. And it's not the only thing that caused it, but, one of those things that...
Hollywood sets a trend, Al.
Right. You're right. It amplifies everything.
Just like a group of people that set the trend and everybody everybody follows.
It's nonsense, too. It's
We hear so often of single mothers now. It's
right.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a single mother. We're so proud of you.
Yeah.
What about you get married?
70% of all children born to black mothers are there's no father.
that high?
There
You
was one
realize
somewhere.
what the medical thing is? oh, did your father have heart disease? I don't know who my father is.
Yeah.
Did he have diabetes? I don't know who the hell he is.
Yep.
And he never supported me. You know,
Yeah,
we're going back into the jungle.
Well, what's happening today and has been happening puts me to the mind of Hans Christian Andersen's story, The Emperor's New Clothes. Someday somebody's going to say, look what's going on here, what's wrong with you? And all of a sudden people realize, yeah, he's right. You know, we're supposed to be the oddball now or something.
Yeah, well, the thing comes in too. You know, you got Maury Povich. He's got Who's Your Daddy on there almost every day, and some of these girls come through there. She's on her 8th guy. Like, give me a break.
I had an engineer, a little Irish guy with a brogue, and I used to say, Eddie, what are you watching that crap for?
Yeah.
He
That's
says,
what it is.
Cap, he says, I love it. He says, because it makes me so proud of who I am.
I am, yeah.
And
He has
you
a
know
point.
what? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
When you talk about trash of the world, where do they find these people? Of course, they get a free trip.
Ah,
to Europe, don't they?
yeah.
Yeah.
They
That's
get a free
money.
trip.
Money and all this other stuff now.
And they're all, it's not only Maury now, it's a lot of other people have jumped on the bandwagon.
Aren't they also like coaching to come out swinging? or something?
Cunningham and sure.
Well, you had, throw me off a little bit. You had Jerry Springer on, and that's trash. You know, I got to throw him out of the city and everything else. I said, give me a break. He's got a couple. He's got adults on there that are fighting with each other and stuff like that. And at the end, he says, these people are idiots.
Yeah.
He sermonizes at the end.
I sermonized at the end.
What he did was not half bad as what's going on now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, he pretty much started it all.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, the only thing you take, you know, it's like Tom, you got to take them one at a time as you meet them.
Well, look at what his
just like, you know,
ex-Chicago policeman is doing now. Got his own show.
What's his name? Prisloff or I forget what
I can't think of it
He's
either.
a graduate from Lane Tech too.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you know, I mean, I think we're all in agreement that this is definitely not the country that we were born into.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
not.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's shocking. All of the things that when we were born were revered.
Yeah.
Marriage,
Yeah.
a lengthy marriage. You just talked about
Honesty.
60 years, going to church, staying married, family values,
Success in
having
business.
children.
having children, raising the children,
Right.
instilling your values, patriotism, being proud of your country, not necessarily your government, but your country.
Yeah.
You know, all those things now are frowned on.
Yep.
I mean, you know, if you inject the word God into any public gathering, I mean, you're ostracized. Why?
I saw a email the other day
And we
that
let
had
him do it,
two
too.
pictures side by side. One was of a schoolboy in his school in a chair, and he could not pray, and he could not read anything about God, and could not have the Bible. Oh boy, didn't want that. And the other picture is a guy in jail, and here he's got the Bible and he can read, and hey, please do this and that. So
Yeah.
you know, it just shows the level.
Yeah.
Remember shortly after that decision, I think it was in 1962, about prayer in public schools, Charles Schultz did one in Peanuts where Charlie comes home, he sees his sister Sally. He goes, Sally, hi. Looks around, are we alone? Another panel, are you sure? He whispers to her, we prayed in school today.
Yeah.
Very poignant, you know.
Yeah.
I went to a public school. We didn't have any prayers. We had the Pledge of Allegiance first thing in the morning.
Well, they're trying to all that too. You say under God. You know, it was
Under
added.
God.
Of course, that was added after you were out of work.
I don't remember.
Well, when did you get out of grade school?
53.
Yeah, it was. That's about the
About
time
when
it
they
went
put it in.
Yeah.
When Tom and I were in second grade with that one in. Tom might have been second. I was still flunking first grade or something. Oh no.
Yeah,
Second grade.
John was
Yeah,
the
it's the
smart.
fourth time around.
At
First
St.
grade.
Rita High School, John was the smartest kid in sophomore class for 3 years in a row.
I read a great line talking about an old Chicagoan, and it said when he went to school, he was talking about some of his teachers. He said, "I really never exhibited any intellectual capacity, but I taught them patience." So that's
See,
a
there's
good line.
there's always a bright side to everything.
You're right, yeah.
So, gang, we were on Leopold and Loeb
Okay.
from what, 1924? Was that? about
Yeah,
like that?
1924.
24?
How about Susan Degnan?
Okay.
How about that? That's one of the
46, I think.
one of the
Yeah.
big things. I was not that old. I mean, you know, but I kind of did know her. We used to go down to the Thorndale beach, and we'd go right by their house,
Yeah.
and so I remember that. And then
What do you feel about that, Bill? I mean,
Well, okay, what happened now?
Is he still in?
He died last year.
Oh, did he die last year?
Yeah.
Okay, fill everybody in, including myself.
Well, he
What was the deal?
Bill Ahrens was a neighbor, and he was a I don't know what you'd call him. I guess you would call him something like Leopold and Loeb.
He was
He's a burglar.
He was a burglar.
A burglar.
He lived in Skokie, and he was going to University of Chicago, and he's riding
That's
yells.
right.
And he was breaking into apartments.
And he
And-
broke in here and found Susan and
Yeah.
She was home
in
with-
the home. And
Yeah.
she was
Yeah,
home.
she had her own bedroom.
I believe that the parents or the mother was home too.
They both could
I
have been
think so.
home.
Yeah.
There also had been a number of women living around Addison and Broadway who were killed.
Okay.
Yeah, there were
That I
about two or
didn't know.
three.
So how would
Did they put that on him too?
Yes,
Did
they
they?
did.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And
How old was she
the
when this
big
happened?
thing was he wrote on the mirror, you know.
They don't even know if he wrote on the mirror, but there was a in lipstick. There was
In
a,
lipstick.
Stop me before I kill again.
Before I kill again, yeah.
And Susan was about I don't know 6 or 8 or so.
The whole
But he
thing
dis-
was,
he
I mean,
dismembered her.
I was about 10
He
years
cut her
old
up
then,
into little pieces.
and the thing was, is later on, recently actually, every time he'd get out or try to get out,
to get out.
parole, you know, I'm not the guy I used to be, and I've been saved in that, and on that same venue about once a month or every couple of months I get a letter or an email from the FOP, from Frank DeMaria, on some cop killer that is trying to get out for to sign the petitions and that, and that is always the same way. And if you don't do it, you know, those liberals up on that pension board, parole board are liable to let the guy out.
You know,
so you have to go through it, and the family has to go through it.
Yeah,
I went through
that's-
it. You know.
Yeah,
That's,
you went
that's
through
the
it.
thing. You know, you just it just brings up old wounds, and
They want to show mercy to someone that kills a police officer, but Zimmerman should go to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing comes out, the Schischler brothers that got killed with, what's the other friend?
Schussler Peterson.
Yeah.
Peterson.
I was a young fireman, and I remember going on, and we had to go through dumpsters,
You had to do
and
search.
we went through the manhole covers, and then
That was a strange.
and we're all thinking, what the hell did I come on this job for to do
Yeah,
this?
I think
But
they found out.
it was around there because the bowling alley was right there on Montrose.
Montrose and Central
Drake?
Park or Drake.
Drake, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they, I think they found out about the Summit Forest Preserve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I had a car at the time. I was at 48 Studebaker, so it was just before I went in the Air Force. So I was in late teens, and I parked the car in the alley, and the front door lock didn't work so well. So what I did, I took the lock out and I put a Phillips screwdriver in the where the gas cap is. You can open it, at the flap and take the. So I took it out and open the car that way, and a cop comes running up. He was drunk. He couldn't hardly go straight on it.
That was a terrible.
Yeah.
That and the Grimes sisters.
Oh yeah, Grimes.
And I don't know whether they have really.
I don't think they found anything on
I
it.
don't think so. No.
Yeah.
The Grimes sisters, is that happened on Brighton Park? Was that?
I think
Yes.
it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what happened there was two young girls with show?
Two
Or?
sisters. They came out of the what's the theater there?
Right.
Right. Archer?
Yeah, Archer.
Yeah.
There was a furniture store called Wolf Furniture, which burned about 3 or 4 months later. One of them had worked there, and they think that it was in the winter time. It was around Christmas time. They were watching a Elvis Presley movie, and they think they stopped in there to warm up while they were waiting for the bus. They lived around they lived in the 3600 block of South Damon. Building is still there, just north of McKinley Park.
I can picture it.
Yeah, bungalow west side of the street.
It's north of that McKinley Park, north of, what park is that over there?
It's north of McKinley Park.
Where they used to have, oh, yeah, that's right, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm wrong. I'm picturing 47.
Kenny's never wrong.
I'm never wrong.
Ask him.
Well, once in a while I get wrong.
But
John's always wrong.
they think what happened is that the store was closed, but the janitor was still there, and he was cleaning up or something, and then he assaulted them. Both of them, they were 15 and 13, but they were pretty well developed, and they also had been going around in the saloon, supposedly, and soliciting gay men, etc., and then possibly extorting from them a little bit. So anyway, well, whatever. And so somehow they got assaulted, and then their bodies wound up in Germantown Road, out in the southwest suburbs. But what happened was, a few months later, this was around Christmas time. A few months.
Was this in the 50s? No.
This was in 56.
Yeah.
December of 56.
I
Yeah.
was about 10.
In January of 57, the store burns, and the theory is that the janitor, again, the store was closed. He might have been burning up their clothes or something like that, and the fire, got out. Went to a 411. I was working, and but they never really. I don't think they've ever solved the. Yeah, and you were talking, Al, about Schuessler and all that. Without a break, that Kenneth Hansen, he was convicted like 40 years later or so. And you know what it turned out to be? A sort of a terrible thing. Anybody that was working around stables and stable hands, or giving lessons and stuff like
And
that.
there were a lot of people.
A lot of people.
that
My
hung
daughters,
around.
my daughters were going out to Montrose and Cumberland riding the
Right.
That was
the horses.
typical, yeah.
A terrible. Richard Lindbergh wrote the maybe definitive book on.
Rich Lindbergh? Yeah.
Yeah.
White Sox historian.
Yeah. On Schuessler Peterson. He's an excellent researcher, and he just said, you stay away from stables, because they're sort of the.
They were like roadies, or
Right.
They were always hanging.
It's almost
around
like the
there,
people working for the carnivals.
Racetrack.
And racetrack
We used to take them
people.
around all the time.
Yeah. You would know, Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were out to the stable a couple times. I never noticed that, but then again, I was high school.
Yeah. And you know what? I think the worst thing is your sensibilities are. Here we go again. Why would somebody kill 3 boys? Why would somebody kill 2 girls? Particularly the girls. They can't defend themselves. Bobby Franks couldn't defend themselves.
There's no logic in these things anyway.
No, that's it.
Well, Bobby Franks was probably caught off guard, so that.
There's no logic.
Yeah, but
in
even
any
so,
of it,
he didn't
in
deserve to
anybody
die.
Like
Yeah,
that.
that's
Well, with a
true.
robbery or something, there's some logic there. I want to
Yeah.
get what you have.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah.
that's right. That's
Warped and more, but nonetheless.
That's a good theory, because the girls or the boys, could not offer anything. They didn't have any money, and they were. Yeah, it's.
And it wasn't a killing like their life was in danger. They just
No.
they were robbed or
No,
raped
yeah.
or
Yeah,
whatever.
right,
you know.
yeah.
It's
Can you imagine their parents that didn't lose both boys?
yep.
So,
Oh boy.
These are things you really can't imagine them, and you can imagine them, but you can't touch any kind
No.
of reality. At least you hope you never have to.
You know,
the other one that was out in this area here, not too far down the road from here, was the what was his name? Bundy? No, it's Clown.
Gacy.
Oh, Gacy.
Gacy, yeah.
He's probably about less than a mile north of here.
Yeah.
Right behind the firehouse, basically.
With all those pictures of Jimmy and Laurelyn Carter and everybody else that had pictures.
Yeah, he.
There's
they're still
another
digging
one.
up the. I think the house was torn down. I saw when they were through inspecting it. I guess you want to call it that way. It was essentially a roof on 4 posts, and that was all that was left of it. And I regret now that I should have taken photographs of it, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
And it was torn down. It was vacant. The lot was vacant for a long time, and they put a house up there. And I don't know if it was sold or not. I don't know.
I
yet.
think so. Yeah.
So
you don't understand why they would level a house.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
like
you know, it's
Yeah, what the house had.
Yeah.
Well, they're still trying to find other victims.
Right.
That they don't know.
Yeah.
You know, they still had not. Well, I don't know if they still have
Hey,
it now.
Bill, he didn't keep good records. That was the problem.
They had some bodies over at the county morgue that were never claimed.
Yeah, that's nothing unusual. But
No.
But I mean, these were runaways.
yeah,
Home
Yeah.
anyway. And
if you look at the death list from Dunning, Cook County, with a little bit that they do, you look at unclaimed, foundling, stuff like this here. The kid died in the street, and that was they put him out in the street, and they picked him up. Nobody knew who he was.
Talking about 54 West Hubbard, that was the area that John Wayne Gacy operated in. There were a lot of street hustlers down there.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the gay bars.
I
That was
worked
one of
there
his
about 7
biggest.
years.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, the guy that I worked with, who's now deceased, Jim Hanley, he was a Chicago police detective. That was one of the identities that Gacy used. He used to introduce himself. I guess he had some phony IDs, and he said, "I'm Detective Jim Hanley. I work right around the corner," because Hanley was called to testify in that case.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know the other one you mentioned it before was Richard Speck. You know, and there was another one that weekend. You know, he went completely crazy and killed those nurses. You know, and for no reason. You know.
Yep.
And,
well, Tom and I, the neighborhood.
And that was from that neighborhood, Tom.
Right.
He wound up, you know, with the Raleigh Hotel, the old building at Erie and Dearborn. It's still there.
West Madison?
No, Erie and Dearborn.
Erie and Dearborn, okay. Oh, Erie, yeah.
Yeah, you know, near the, what's it called? There's a nightclub right there, the Excalibur or something like that.
Yeah.
It's only 3 buildings in the
different
block.
Names.
Yeah, it's upscale now, but
It's like a huge castle. It's got the huge blocks.
The old
Well-
Chicago Historical Society building.
Yeah, right.
that's right.
Yeah, it's next to it. You know, one of the things that happened there, and Tom, maybe you can
Okay.
explain. When that was the day after he killed the girls. He came to the north side. They were all killed in a townhouse on East 100th Street, about 2300 East. He comes up to the Raleigh Hotel, which is a dump, 7-story building, old building. The clerk spots a gun on him, registers him, calls the police. The police come. They confiscate the gun, but they don't report it. You know. So I don't know what they're doing there, but they don't arrest him either. But they don't know about these.
Right. They didn't piece it together.
No, they didn't. Yeah, it hadn't gone citywide. You know.
I've heard that story before.
Yeah, and then he got out. He went over to the Mohawk Hotel, which was at Skid Row, Madison. Yeah, 500
that's right,
blocks.
excuse me.
Yeah, and then he slashed his wrists, and then the doctor at the county hospital, where the police brought him, cleaned him up,
Say, hey,
and he saw that.
looks like the guy.
Yeah,
They recognized the tattoo.
I was going to say exactly. What was
Yeah.
it? Born to Raise Hell or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he turned him in. Yeah.
Well, I understand unofficially, the department went to the 2 guys originally and said, hey, let's have that gun.
Yeah. I don't
Isn't
know.
one of the girls still living?
I think so.
I think so. That
Could be,
Corazon. Yeah.
Corazon Amaro or
Something like
whatever.
that, yeah.
She hid underneath one of the beds there, and he didn't look for her.
Yeah.
This happened in '66, like a year and a half before you and I came on the job, Tom.
Yeah, I think she moved back to the Philippines.
Yeah.
But she came back to town.
Yeah.
Gloria Davy, her uncle was in our neighborhood. I saw him. Hey, John, what's new? He goes, don't you know? I saw the name. It didn't say necessarily make the connection.
Yeah.
It was his niece.
Yeah.
So
You know, there was a Polish girl among the nurses, and her father had a tavern out in South Chicago. And in fact, I think he closed it up during within a short time. He attended all the, when he had to appear in court and stuff like that. And he looked murder out of his eyes.
Right.
And I thought to myself, if he is ever paroled or...
Oh, he died.
yeah.
Yeah, he did. He died of a heart attack, but he would have killed him. I'm sure he would have killed
Well,
him.
that's what John Davies said. He said he wasn't going to get off. His brother would have done something.
Yeah.
He said.
Yeah, and expect a medal for it, too.
Well, usually a lot of those guys, they don't have a really life in jail either, because a lot of the convicts don't care for those people either.
No,
That's right.
he wound up, though. Remember, there was an expose.
He had certain surgeries performed.
Yes, exactly.
Breast implants at our expense.
Yeah. I don't know about
Well, 1991, 92.
He was selling himself in jail.
He was selling
in the
himself
joint,
in jail, and he had he was
He had
he
like
was
a
just
club
a scum.
going or something.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Oh boy, that's a new twin. I guess.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what was going on in this city in the
before the media.
All that book.
With the levy,
Sin
City, or
Sin in the Second City,
Or the Devil in White City was another.
The Devil in White City,
yeah.
That maybe, Tom, is the classic right there.
Let's save him for the last half hour.
Yeah.
How about Giuseppe Zangara?
Who?
Guy who
Giuseppe
shot Cermak.
Right.
He tried to kill Victor Emmanuel when he was in Italy, and he got here somehow.
Really? I didn't know he tried to kill. Yeah.
And he was like convicted about 3 months' time. Executed.
He was executed. Yeah, he wasn't around. Still
Well,
don't know.
that's the way the law reads. Is you get a fast trial. And,
Yeah.
and, you know.
Justice delayed is justice denied.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The trouble is, Europe now, they still have where they do have death penalties. They don't go through a myriad of trials. They do it fairly quickly.
Well, that's what they want to do here to Zimmerman. No trial. Just he must be guilty.
no.
I don't think they ever did overseas in any of those countries.
Well, take a look at this latest case in
And I don't
Italy.
think there's any appellate court overseas.
I don't know, like in Germany or do they have
Or in China.
China?
Germany might be a little more the American style, but you go to Italy, this girl was accused of killing her boyfriend or something like that.
Roommate, wasn't it?
Something like that, and she was declared innocent, and somebody decided, well, we got to do it again because we think she's guilty, and so they wanted to try her again.
Well, really.
Well, that's
jeopardy.
that's in
Jeopardy.
And as far as
that
our
was in
justice
Italy.
system-
Yeah.
As far as our justice system goes, you'll hear on the news, so-and-so was found innocent. No court finds anyone innocent. They just couldn't prove you guilty. You're already
right.
presumed to be innocent,
Yeah.
so proven guilty.
Yeah.
As I said, just because someone gets off.
Again, getting back to, we keep on returning to the Trayvon and Zimmerman case, but that's another thing that was kind of astounding about the news media. I mean, isn't one of the tenets of our judicial system in this country that you are innocent until proven guilty?
Presumed innocent.
Yeah.
Right, and you I mean, you're kind of like bound to believe that, and the media did their best. I'm not actually, when I think about it, they actually said that Zimmerman was guilty.
Was guilty. Yeah.
Now, I mean, how can you? I mean, it just goes against everything that and these are the same, again, the same people that they want to release a cop killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One report said that Trayvon became Zimmerman's victim was a victim, this guy had to be a perpetrator. That's too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well,
Presumption.
And the other thing is, it's guilty beyond reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
There was no mention of that. I mean, if there wasn't reasonable doubt there, I would venture to say that Trayvon's own parents had reasonable doubt as to what took place.
Yeah.
You have to.
Well,
And that's why he really got. We still. By the way, the governor of the state of Florida replaced the state's attorney who was not going to. Remember, they didn't charge him for 45 days.
Yeah.
The police didn't arrest him. Brings in. How would you like to be the state's attorney and say, you're being replaced?
Yeah.
Brings in this woman, and I can't think of her name, and she right away doesn't go to the grand jury. She indicts for
murder. Yeah.
yeah.
It was a political murder case.
Pretty sharp girl up on the.
Excuse me,
No,
you've
no,
been
this
listening
this
to Meet
gal-
the Chicago Historians.
This gal never
Our
appeared.
panel will be right back after these announcements. Please stay.
No, those are the one I.
The one that put.
Are you looking for a real good place to have dinner? Well, I have just the right place for you to go, and that is Sorrento's Village Restaurant and Pizzeria, which is located at 2318 North Manheim Road in Melrose Park. Now, every Friday from 5 o'clock in the afternoon until 8:30 p.m., you can enjoy their all-you-can-eat buffet and pasta bar. A perfect way for families and friends to enjoy a delicious, fresh meal together for just $12.95 for adults and $8.95 for children 10 years and under. Sorrento's is proud to introduce this Friday night buffet with pasta bar made to order, fresh pasta with your choice of vodka, 4 cheese Alfredo, marinated sauces, plus Sorrento's delicious meatballs and sausage, and a buffet that is bursting with flavors from risotto, seafood, and chicken dishes, and a variety of Sorrento's pizza and full salad bar, and garlic bread. And that's, again, just $12.95 for adults and $8.95 for children 10 years or under. You can also enjoy their affordable, fast, perfect, full-service catering. Catering might sound expensive, but when you choose Sorrento's, we do the work and you take the applause for a memorable party for every occasion. Or use our beautiful banquet rooms, accommodating 20 to 200 guests. Many catering orders can be even prepared the same day or within 24 hours. No other weekday lunch buffet is like it. Sorrento's weekday, that's Monday to Friday, lunch buffet is perfect for business get-togethers. Soup, salad, pasta, vegetable, fresh baked bread, meat or fish, plus dessert. You can call 847-455-9440 for group prices. On Tuesday, if you purchase a regular soft drink, you can enjoy the favorable buffet at half off. Remember, for the best food in town, go to Sorrento's Village Pizzeria and Restaurant, located at 2318 North Manheim Road in Melrose Park. They are just south of Fullerton Avenue on the west side of the street, and plenty of free, no meters, it's free parking. You can call Sam or Frank at area code 847-455-9440. That's Sorrento's Village Restaurant, located at 2318 North Manheim Road in Melrose Park. Once again, their phone number is area code 847-455-9440. That's area code 847-455-9440 for the best food in town, or go to 2318 North Manheim Road in Melrose Park. There's just a few blocks south of Grand Avenue on Manheim on the west side of the street, and once again, plenty of free parking.
Once again, we return you to our panel.
Good afternoon. Well, I think, Al, you were going to say something before. Al Opitz, our resident chemist?
No, engineer. Chemist is something else. But anyways, I was going to say that Obama was interviewed on TV after the verdict was handed down. He looked very disappointed.
The verdict on what?
Zimmerman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's like he was guilty. I don't care what they said and all this stuff, but he mouthed out the fact it was a jury trial and it was found innocent, so consequently he had to accept it.
Is he that upset that he's going to go on another $1 million vacation?
Yeah. Is he
Is that all?
Is he back from? He never.
It sounds like he's using the same sort of intuition he used with that copper. And who was the college professor?
Yeah.
Skip. What was his name? Yeah, that was another thing when I think. Well, he should have learned because anyone that's listening should learn. If you make a statement, I don't have all the facts. Shut up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do not continue after you say I do not have all the facts, because in that particular case, he said I don't have all the facts, but I believe that the policeman acted stupidly.
Yeah.
That's right.
Skip Gates.
Skip Gates.
And when he found out all the facts, not only didn't the police officer act stupidly, his buddy Skip Gates is the one that acted stupidly.
Well, the other thing was that like a news story says, don't bother me with the facts, and we have a good news story. So consequently, even though I don't have the facts, the press has to go on. Type of thing.
Well, you have the 24-hour news cycle now.
Yeah. All news
Hmm.
broadcast. We breaking news. Breaking what news? We heard that in the last program.
God, you're talking about yellow journalism.
It can't be.
Not this place.
And as a result, I looked at the Sun Times. Did you see the paper today?
No.
It's practically 20 or 30 sheets. There's nothing to it. There's very little news in there.
That's right.
It looks like
It's all advertisement.
Yeah.
It looks like a neighborhood throwout. The handout.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the automobile ads,
Yeah.
and it's
Everything's
sort of a shame.
downsized,
I'll tell you,
printers.
when I get on the computer, I look at the news.
That's a big source now.
Yeah.
So do I, and I mean it stares you right in the face.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
And I also look at the news in Baraboo.
Yeah.
To see what's going on up there, and you know what? There ain't much of a change.
No.
There ain't much of a change at all.
Well, the thing is, I certainly hope that newspapers don't go out of business, because what will people line their burn cages with?
That's true. But the one of the
SWAT flies with.
one of the criticisms of Obama had was Fox News, and apparently Fox gives a little more real news than the rest of them do.
Well, you know what? People complain about Bill O'Reilly and Rush Limbaugh and all of these things and Fox News, and the thing is, when Rush Limbaugh started, he says things that we think. We would like to have that problem of being on and making a lot
Yeah.
But he's saying what we are.
That's what really it drives the liberals insane, because they are noted for being open-minded and saying we really want people to speak out and have an opinion, and then they are very upset that someone else does have an opinion that's different, from
theirs.
theirs.
With their opinion,
When I was growing up, I mean, there were no conservative talk shows. There were very little.
Nobody knew what the hell conservative was.
Bill Buckley. That was and that was about it.
There was no TV when you were growing up.
Right.
Don Sinise, I think, was the first conservative in our neighborhood.
Right.
Who was the second?
John Ryan.
Yeah, I think so. You look at me. You're for Goldwater.
You know what? It was interesting. They made a survey of the keynote speakers and speakers at graduations. All the major colleges, the top 50, none of them had a conservative speaker. They were all,
Liberals, yeah.
all liberals.
I wonder how many
But,
will be
you know-
conservatives later in life, though.
Well, that's the
Well-
trouble. University of Chicago is all liberals. They don't know what a conservative is there.
The university itself, like administration, seems a little conservative, but then again, that's more your business type people, right?
Yep.
The university itself.
They need the money, so
I was
they're.
born over there, so
Where were you born? And where?
Hawaiian.
Oh, really?
My mother needed a specialist.
Oh, yeah.
I was 10-14.
Really? Yeah.
That's a basic question. Why are so many university faculties very predominantly liberal? You wonder.
Yeah.
I guess they just caught on to the New Deal and FDR.
They're the people from the 60s.
Right, and plus they can't operate in the real world.
Yeah.
And they can't operate in the real
I mean,
world.
really, a lot
Yeah.
of them. I mean,
They
they're
can't.
They
You're
got no
right.
business
you
sense.
know they.
Yeah.
I mean, if you gave them a bus pass and a map, they couldn't find their way downtown.
Yeah.
Well,
A lot of those around.
One of the worst things that came out originally was the MBA program. It was all short-term profits and didn't worry about the long-term next year.
You mean like the Boston Celtics and them? Oh, MBA. You said an NBA.
MBA, yeah. And all of a
I'm
few
not
years
going to
ago,
sit next to you.
a few years ago, they just said, "Oh yeah, there is a future. We got to think about future." And it changed a little bit. Now they do some planning, but a lot of the damage has been done already.
You know what? One of my son-in-laws got an MBA, MBA from the University of Chicago, and he thought it was a very excellent program. And my oldest grandson now he just graduated from Dominican, so he's going to be doing stuff. There are the individual people are still. Tom, they're still wonderful.
One of my the grandsons went to Northern in DeKalb, and he didn't have a roommate at the time. And then finally we moved him in, and he called me one day and he says, "Hey, Papa," he says, "so and so and so and so," and I says, "Well, wait a minute, did you get a roommate yet?" He says, "Oh yeah," he says, "he showed up 2 or 3 days late." And I said, "What's his name?" And he told me it was some Irish last name, and but he wasn't Irish from and there's a word for that. But he later on, I said, "Hey, Sean," I says, "how's your roommate doing?" He says, "I never saw anything like this." He says, "He don't go to class. He sleeps all morning. He don't do any work and watches TV and that." And I says, "Well, what do you expect?" I says, "You'll grow up, kid, and you'll know that what you're telling me now is I could have told you before."
Yeah.
And then he said, a couple of months later, I said, "How's so and so?" "Oh," he says, "he's gone."
Yeah.
He says he never came back.
He
says,
dropped out.
He says he's through with school. I says, "Oh, wait a minute." I said, "Remember what you told me before, that he's not going to make it?" I says, "He'll make it, and you'll be out looking for a job somewhere." And sure enough, this guy's going to some other goofy school somewhere.
Yeah.
Sean found out about it, and I said, that's why he was there.
Yeah.
Just to take up space and to take up that, that freebie.
Yeah. Listen, I just want to listen to this. We were at a party yesterday out in West Chicago. One of my, grandsons got a free ride to IIT. So now here's a kid that's lived in Bartlett and West Chicago his whole life.
Yeah.
Never was able to walk to, you and I, let's go down to Six Corners and, buy this or that or something. Or take the bus. And he's got a free ride. Now he's got to pay room and board, but he'll be at IIT. So anyway, I put in the graduation card. I always write him. I don't, I said, "You finally made it. You're Chicagoan." See how he likes it.
He's staying down there?
Yeah. Oh, he's got to. Yeah.
Well, it's close to the cell.
I was a night school student at IIT, so I spent 8 glorious years going back and forth.
Well, did you?
This kid that was Sean's roommate is going to ITT.
Oh, yeah. Institute of Gas Technology.
That's the one that's on TV and all of that. And
You know
he
what,
got a
but-
free ride.
Bill, he may not be very happy. I think a lot of these people, Tom, don't you agree? A lot of these people are not happy, and they're fighting, and they have divorces, and they have children, but they have problems.
No.
Yeah.
IIT started life as the Armor Institute.
Right.
Yes, it did.
Armor and Lewis.
All-man Armor, Armor the Packer.
Yeah.
And he had the old building is still there with the old
Old
leaded
Main.
glass.
There's
and-
two.
Yeah.
There's two old buildings there: Old Main and the Machinery Hall.
Yeah, and he had a mansion down on about 35th in Michigan, it's still there. And they say Old Man Armor used to walk every day from there over to his office at the Stockyard Inn, head office. And do you know why he would walk? Because if he ran, people would think he was swift.
By the way, there's a great story there. He was a member of the Plymouth Presbyterian Church at 25th in Michigan, and the minister was a guy named Frank Gonzalez, sort of an odd name, Gunsaul.
Oh, it's a school by that name.
Yeah, it is a school. Yeah.
I thought it was a Spanish name. It's not.
No, it's not.
Lithuanian or?
I don't know what the hell it was.
Oh, yeah, it's
Yeah, it might be Lugan.
And Gonzalez preached
It's in Brighton Park, the school.
Okay, where? Oh.
41st and
Okay.
somewhere around between
Francisco.
Rockwell or somewhere there.
Anyway, Dr. Frank preached a sermon. If I had $1 million, this is going back in the 1890s, and what was he going to do with $1 million? Start a vocational school for children, high school children. And Armour was in the, this is P.D. Armour was in the audience. And after the service was over, he said to Gonzalez, if I give you the $1 million, what will you do? He said, I'll run it for the first 5 years. And he gave him the $1 million, and that's how it started, and that's how it started in the South. Armour Institute. That was around, I don't know, in the 1890s or so.
Well, there was two schools at one time. It was
Lewis Institute,
and Armour, and they merged to form IIT. And now when you go there, they got the Armour College of Engineering and the Lewis Liberal Arts School. So basically, they re-recognized the school because you also got the Kent College of Law and a couple other.
Is that there too? I thought that was.
No, it's not there, but that's part of the.
That's part of it.
Yeah, they're on like Plymouth Court. And
it's downtown.
Yeah, Jackson, right, in Jackson. Lewis Institute was around Madison and Damon, and they and I've seen pictures of the building, and they combined. But Armour backed that.
Yeah,
and it's been successful, I guess.
Yeah, after the Second World War, they had a lot of Quonset huts there and all kinds of weird buildings, apartment buildings, and they had classes in there. And as I was going there, they were tearing a lot of these places down, and Mies van der Rohe was building his glass houses there and all this stuff, and he wasn't always that great at it. The building they used for architecture, he had classrooms in there on the main floor, and they also put up partial walls. Now the problem that students told me he had was you could hear the professor in the next room, and you couldn't concentrate on your own classes.
Yeah, but that should be,
But they eliminated those altogether. Now they got that for model buildings. So that's all
just I think it was yesterday or day before they had a program on TV or an excerpt on the cost of universities in our area.
Oh, geez.
And I mean, Northwestern was like 20th on the list, and they were like $60,000 a year. I forget what the other ones were, but I mean, an education now is unbelievable.
Well, the professors in there are making a couple $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
And then they are consultants along with it. So it's especially IIT. they got a whole string of consultants on there, so they're probably making $500,000 a year
Well,
or
when
more.
they can pay, what is it, $500 a week or a day or something to Richard Daly.
He's a consultant.
At one of those schools down
School
there.
of speech therapy.
And it was $500.
You beat me to it.
What the hell, you know?
And you know what? I listen to Roper and Rokon. The colleges, 700% of the hires non-teachers.
Yeah, they
Teachers,
Oh, yeah.
teachers are about the same,
Yeah.
but it's the administrative staff. But yeah, that was pretty good.
Like
what you
Chicago
said.
Public Schools, they'll have 18 people in the who's supposed to do the reproduction for the handouts or the quizzes.
Yeah,
A parish school have 2 women, every kid in the school, every family.
I know.
Yeah, everybody.
But
I know. My wife was one of 3, and they had.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Eventually, from 1,100 to 700 or so.
But the 3 women or 2 women do everything.
Yeah, principal, secretary, and she collected tuition. You know, because someone's got to collect tuition. You know.
I remember I was going, but I got lucky. I got started out at IIT with the GI Bill, so I got the government to pay for part of it, and then I worked for Teletype Corporation. They also had a tuition reimbursement. Teletype.
Oh, okay.
The company, the United States came in and helped go out of business.
Were you at Wrightwood and Southport?
No, this was over 2 weeks. But
Like Teletype machine we used to have.
Yeah. Police department had it.
Yeah, that was a small T. Big T was the name of the company, and
they
little
were
T
out
was
in
the
Skokie, wasn't it?
Yeah, Skokie.
Yeah.
They replaced smoke signals as the way of communicating with downtown.
What was wrong with smoke signals?
Nothing. Except you inhaled.
I think nighttime it was a little bit.
But the problem was
as long
that
as they had spell check on the signals.
The problem that came in was that the government wouldn't let them do any investigating on modern technology. So. And they couldn't produce anything new for computers, and consequently, that was the breakup of Western Electric. They were part of Western Electric.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
I didn't know that.
Is there still Western Electric? I don't even know.
Yeah, it started out with Martin Salt was the original, one of the original investors. It used to be called Markram.
When it rains, it pours.
Yeah.
It used to be called Markram.
They don't go on any more cruises on.
But they used to,
on Lake Michigan.
That other guy was, but Morton Salt was one of the investors, and there was another guy, and there was a partnership, and they formed Teletype.
Morton, Joy, his real first name is Joy. They abbreviated to J. Sterling. He was for education. Isn't there a high school out in the suburbs? Morton High School out. There's a grammar school.
East and West,
Morton College too.
Yeah, Morton College.
I thought that was just. I didn't know it was after a man though.
Oh yeah, and it's from the Salt Company, and he lived in Chicago.
Mortimer Snerd.
No.
Oh.
And
never stay serious more than a minute at a time.
Yeah.
Well, Western Electric was torn down because the government.
Genius lived over there. Our friend of ours lived very close to where Western Electric was.
Yeah, and,
you see the old movies, Western Electric System, recording system or something like that.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Well, the other one was
I watch old movies. So.
Yeah.
They had a Western Electric player piano at one time. Now, where that came from, I don't know.
Yeah.
They
had a huge
we tried
complex.
to find it, on the internet, and I couldn't find anything about it.
They had huge
I guess someone will probably know.
Presence in Chicago, too.
I'll check on that.
Yeah. Yeah, they made all the telephones, I think.
It makes me interesting. We're thinking about before all these business of like Richie Daly getting the 500 and so and this and that. And remember now, like for Bill Kugelman, Ken Little, and you work for the city, right? Al Opitz, Tom McKenna. Do you work for the city?
No.
No. Oh, see,
Never
the only one in the private industry over here. Anyway, they used to give
wasn't
us
a friend of Mike Madigan.
They used to give us.
There's still time, Rich.
They used to give us the ethics statement every year, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm not doing any business with the city or something. It was the most absurd. My sergeant called it our ethnic statements.
Yeah.
They didn't start that until later on when we came on.
Yeah.
You go on.
I
don't know when they started it.
It was probably the 80s, somewhere 90s.
Oh, you go in there
I
now.
know. I was with the union at that time, and I said, they wanted you to mail it to them, and I said,
Yeah.
no, we ain't mailing nothing, spending that.
Yeah.
Send it through the
Hand it to 'em.
the mail. Send it through the mail. You know.
You know, I got to tell you something though. When Old Man Daly was there, you just felt that there was somebody looking out for your interest. You know what? We're going to get a raise this year. You know,
Common sense was there.
Yeah, common sense
that?
was there.
No.
I can remember at one of the first union meetings, my dad told me, he says, I want you to go to, get involved with the union, blah, blah, blah. And I can remember at one of them, Daley was the mayor, and Spike Lynch was the president of Local 2 of our
Sure.
union. And some a little old Irish guy get up there with a brogue, and he says, Spike, he says, is there any chance that we're going to get a raise this year? And he says, we really need it. I got 14 kids, and I got, he says, we need a raise. And Spike said, I talked to the mayor the other day, he says, and yes, we are going to get oh, God bless you, Spike, God bless you, God bless you. And I thought, is this the way to do business? I mean, I was just a young fireman. Is this the way you do things?
Way, yeah.
And that's the way you did things with the Old Man Daly. Handshake.
Yeah, it was a handshake, and he said,
and
he said it to your union. Yeah, he said, they said, what are we going to do when you're not here? And he said,
exactly,
you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah,
yeah.
He said, get it in writing.
Yeah, get it in writing.
These unions got co-opted by the Powells. They became like one of the same thing. They're sort of
exactly.
Exactly.
Some of them just screwed it up for themselves.
Yeah.
The other one was sort of funny. Sawyer was a great mayor for the unions too, and the union turned around and stabbed him in the back and elected Junior over there.
Well, I tell you what, we got everything that we had from Jane Byrne, and we had very good luck with Harold Washington and with Gene Sawyer.
Yeah, right.
But the other ones,
I thought Gene Sawyer would have been a good mayor.
Yeah, he was.
For everybody.
you know what?
He
That
was.
poor guy. I don't know if he's still living or
jokes,
not, but he was at Rose Hill Cemetery when we buried Charlie Gamble.
Oh yeah.
And that was Charlie's man. And he came in and he looked like a bum. Oh my God, he looked terrible.
Sorry?
And I understand that he had financial problems.
Yeah,
and,
he's got a son who is he's what?
Was he an alderman, his son, though?
I think the son still is. Roderick or something, yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Not sure.
You know what? I sort of like Sawyer, though. I mean,
he was a guy from the street, and you could talk to him, and
all of a sudden he's got the job,
And you know what? Jane told us, Moon and myself and Bill Reddy, Moon is after. He says, "Hey, you told us that you were going to give us a contract and that," and her words were, "Gentlemen, you're going to get a contract, but you're going to have to work for it."
Yeah.
And that's what we had to do. We had to work for
a couple of more years.
Well, no, we had to go on a strike.
Bill?
Well, I mean, from 80 to 82.
You got the last word, you two.
Sawyer worked for the water department at one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He used to be in the same building I was in.
He had to liquidate all of his assets then, right?
Oh, he was a collector.
Very good.
Here we go.
Very good. I'm not going to sit over
this
here
is
anymore.
definitely the crossing the finish line. Want to thank everyone for listening, and we hope we'll be back soon. And I'm going to throw this over to my personal golf buddy,
Rich
Lang.
Your announcer.
Yes.
Okay.
You play golf?
We want to thank Kevin of Jack, JACK-FM 89.7, station WRHS Norwich, for broadcasting this program over the Ridgewood High School radio network. Listeners can access our recorded programs and a large number of other shows on the internet at WindyCityHometown.com. Thank you for listening.
One more
This
thing.
is your announcer, Rich Lang.
Remember, folks, history is much more than a book you keep on the shelf.
Words to live by. Goodbye.
Next broadcast we're recording August 19th, 2013. We're going to do something that's due to our heart from August until February around St. Valentine's Day. That's football at all levels. Football. Pigskin. Gridiron.
You have been listening to Meet the Chicago Historians from the John DeVita Broadcast Center on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network on Monday, July 15th, the year 2013. This program was produced and directed by John DeVita, edited by Stephen Lehman, and our audio engineer is James Rohde. This program was pre-recorded on Monday, July the 15th, year 2013. Thank you for listening.